Good evening, NJCAA powered by Esports U, and welcome back to another explosive week of Rainbow Six Siege. I'm Binks, joined here by Boxy. How are you doing, my friend?
I'm doing well. Again, my nose is runny. This running joke about how I was sick on the first broadcast we did together, and then a week later you got sick, and now I'm sick again. So we have that going on for us. It's kind of our thing. Other than that, though, I'm doing really well. I'm super excited to be back. How have you been, man?
I've been doing really good. I casted a little bit of CCL yesterday, and so that was an absolute blast. But I'm really happy to be here once again with NJCAA. Love that acronym. The more you say it, a lot more fun it is to say. So really good. But we can keep talking about ourselves, or we can talk about the teams we are here to watch today, which is going to be Nova going against Garden City Community College. And both these teams do look like they bring something to the table, but I want to mainly highlight Nova, which has qualified for playoffs.
Yeah, I mean, definitely good for them. Their match today, I believe, only affects their seeding in the actual playoffs, so they still would prefer to win it. But GCCC, or Garden City Community College, I believe it stands for, well, they can still qualify if I'm not.
Mm, 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 mm.
Okay,
Uh,
well, there we
uh,
go. I lay out every now and then. It happens a little bit, but we will be looking real fast, apparently. So why don't we do that?
yeah, the maps that we do have, I don't know if we have an updated pool, but would we look at this?
No.
Oregon Clubhouse Coastline. Oh my goodness, Boxy, I thought the last time we were going to be able to cast Coastline together was the last time we casted Coastline for NJCAA. But it looks like
No?
we could possibly have a third or a final time casting the map because a ban on Bank, ban on Chalet, ban Oregon, or sorry, pick Oregon, pick Clubhouse. So really standard map picks for this collegiate scene, as Oregon is a really solid and foundational map. I think it's a mainstay.
Yeah, I definitely agree with you. Even like Villa, which is the only map that you may expect in, this lineup over Coastline, was banned last. It was literally the map that was banned last. It was between Coastline and Villa, and Oregon Clubhouse. There are already staples of tier 3, NA, tier 4 even. And I'm not surprised to have either Coastline or Villa played as the last one. Do you think we get to see the decider map today? Do you think we get to do another Coastline cast?
I think statistically, because Nova has qualified for playoffs, they are expected to take both of these maps. But that's not to say that Garden City isn't out of it just yet. They do have their very own map pick, which is Oregon. So depending on how they perform there, it will be a really good indicator on if Nova's going to push right on through. So I don't think statistically we should be seeing a map 3, but I'm really open to having it in play.
Okay, well, we'll definitely see what ends up happening. I do believe our team should be ready in just a second. But do you have any thoughts on, on both Club and Oregon, the two maps that we're definitely going to be seeing, especially in this new season, maybe?
Well, let's start with Oregon, where it's a really well situated map within the pool. All these teams have a really solid foundation to the point where they understand the way that you be pushing. So if we're looking at this basement site, you either take that Flores, Montang, any person to just deny utility or just stop the defenders from having a solid hold. You can either push in through there, but that's not the only route. And I think that's a really important thing. And what a lot of teams forget to think about is that when they're making their defenses, they need to start with their hold, expect for it to come one way, but also be prepared for the second. So you could have the blue push in contrast also coming in from freezer. So for this team, especially for Nova, that's what I'm looking to see, because that is playoff material. Having a team come in and be prepared on the defensive end to switch, to constantly be prepared for a different counterattack from Garden City.
Yeah, okay, well, let's look at Oregon's operator bands. First one on the board is Thatcher coming out from Nova, which I think is very expected. Second one, Flores. I think how strong he is and can be, especially in the util tier or the util department in general. It makes a lot of sense. Third one's going to be Mira, so she will not be brought out at all. And the last one's probably going to be a Kate, a Valkyrie, one of those defenders.
Oh,
Okay, never mind.
I wasn't. I'll give
Expected.
you a lot of credit. I was not expecting that one either, and it's really pleasant. And it could be a read. I think it was Garden City's ban. really looking into the way Nova's been playing. But Thunderbird and those Kona stations actually bring a lot to the table in the form of just being able to heal up those defenders. And yes, it can favor the attackers as well. But if the defenders have them in really strategic areas, then that's all they really need to worry about. A zombie actually is in play, if I remember correctly, but I do not
Mm-hmm.
know for sure.
I do think I remember being told that. I feel like the rules kind of change just a little bit every week, so excuse us for not being up to date. But we are going to be seeing a Kids Dorms hold first up, and it's going to be Smoke, Mute, Wamai, Malusi, and Bender in the defensive lineup. So you have a little bit of everything. You have Wamai for the gadget denial, you have Bender for the wall denial. Excuse
Defenders,
me.
protect your bombs
Oh,
from being
yeah,
defused
still
by attackers.
doing things on me. We have the mute, which I'm into where they use it on. I guess, they brought the bandit for the wall denial, and then mute will strictly be used for the drone slash information denial. And I do like that, but I do want to see how it ends up working out in the end. Other than that, pretty standard. And besides that Blackbeard pick, which is really sticking out to me, and I want to get your thoughts on that.
Yeah, Blackbeard doesn't seem like the best operator to have on the board. His shield has constantly been nerfed, also known as Nerf Beard. It does block a singular bullet, so if you do hop on a window, it can be a really good way to counter things out. But in a lot of those scenarios, if you're going for that window peek or the hallway peek, we've seen teams really opt to take the OSA in the current meta, as well as pro teams like Parabellum earlier on today when they were playing on Border. They were taking the OSA to set up and really allow their team to situate themselves in key points within Border, which is most likely coming to the map pool for NJCAA in the upcoming seasons.
Yep, absolutely agreed. 30 seconds into the round, and the attackers are slowly making their way towards the bomb site. You see the Blackbeard there on the elbow window, I believe most people call it. Just kind of looking towards Trophy, trying to catch anyone off guard. And Smoke, interestingly enough, is going to be playing an Armory, which means Smoke now is cut off to some extent. If someone pushes either up the main stairs or maybe even the Armory window, the Smoke has to take a gunfight, and they cannot get back to the bomb site safely because the Blackbeard is watching that, at least for the time being. I want to see how that ends up working out. But for now, the Smoke can just chill there. They can just burn time. There's literally no pressure on them just yet. Momo will drone out Master, though, and will proceed on to droning Trophy, which means Blackbeard will jump in. And I'm not sure if they've actually cleared Armory, meaning that they could be punished in a big way early on if Josh pushes at the right time.
You will be able to swing out to find a really nice kill onto that guy. But swing out, they're
Oh
going to
no!
get a
Oh
little bit too
no!
greedy as Mo too funny to find the refrag onto the Smoke. Not the pick that you're looking for, especially considering that they most likely had those toxic babes still in their pocket. But this doesn't leave Nova in the worst position as we go into the final minute 15. They have a lot of different ways to push up, but Momo too funny to find a second kill and a refrag from Toxic on a different side of the map.
Yep. Twitch does get one though, so it is technically a 3v2. Bandit and Melissa have their work cut out for them. 55 seconds left. Goes for the swing, finds one, has case as well. That's yellow pink now. Malusi playing down below though, so it's all up to the Bandit on the side to hold on for as long as they can. And I think we're lagging a little bit, or is that just me?
I think Max D forgot to show us the slideshow clicker. So I'm clicking. It's on me. It's on me.
Okay.
So I'm just trying to click the
Okay.
slideshow clicker.
Click faster, man. Do it.
I'm trying.
Faster.
I'm trying to get like 30 frames per second, but like my mouse is not that.
Okay. Well, I mean,
It's not working. I tried my clicker, guys. Sometimes the servers don't like us too much, but hopefully we'll be able to get back in very, very shortly. But hey,
okay.
you guys get to look at us for just a little bit longer, so there's really no problem with that. I can even show you
Yeah.
guys a quick magic trick.
Oh no. Okay.
Whoa, my chair's taller now. Oh.
Oh wow, amazing. Well, I mean, first off, since we have the time, I want to congratulate you on being promoted. If you look at your title card down below your name, you will see that you're actually called Binks today, and you're not called Budget Fellow, which I think is a
Well,
promotion.
it really is, and I appreciate the opportunity to officially be here and not be budget fellow anymore. So thank you very, very much for that.
You'll
But let's
always be
actually
Budget Fellow.
let's diagnose this round because we saw enough to give some predictions,
Mm.
and I actually want to say that it's actually gonna be the attackers from Garden City that did take that round, primarily based off their ability to clear in through Attic. And they had that pinch. We saw the Twitch going for their swing, assisted by the Thermites. So I think Mumu was able to take control of trophy, and that would continue into bedroom and through that split, unless from some miracle Nova either got a crazy flank or they were able to successfully hold off from two separate angles from the inability from Garden City to show off with a split angle that it should be going the way of the attackers for this first round.
I mean, if you want to take it back just a little bit further, the fact that Smoke, they got the kill onto the
You
Blackbeard, they
can't be
were
running
misdroned.
out.
That's great. You got a great entry, but then why do you not reload? Why do you pull out your shotgun and just sprint wide swing master bedroom where you just got droned from, where someone is gonna be? Why do you wide swing that with the shotgun? You've gained your team, or you've garnered your team a great advantage. Blackbeard off the board in the first few minutes. That is huge. But at the same time, why would you just throw your life away, especially if you're Smoke? Why was the Smoke playing there in the first place instead of, say the Mute? They have the same
Hey, we
loadout.
were
They could have
right.
helped that.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's wonderful. We were right. That's a really nice thing to know that our prediction was right. We'll never know how it happened, but Boxy, we were right. I think we really have to
Uh,
appreciate that.
I don't think that happens very often. But there we go. We're just waiting for the teams to be ready. We paused, and Garden City, they got round one. They had a man up, or actually no, the man count was evened out when we lost feed. So I don't know how it happened, but we have seen the Malusi just row at the bottom, the base of Big Tower. So I assume the Bender side just got overloaded, overwhelmed, overran, and then it was a hard situation for Malisi to try and clutch it out. But like you said, we'll never know unless maybe we ask the players in the interview.
Well, with the first round done and dusted, we can look over towards Nova with their second round of defense. And interesting enough, John is going to be going for the Rook play to give themselves just that extra bit of health points and possibly the amplified scope. I personally have never been a fan of this Rook pick, as I believe there's much better operators to be taking on the defensive end that could help your team out immensely. One of them could be the Echo or even the Maestro. Those are both also 3 armor operators that bring so much utility to the board on the side of information. And it is being supplemented by the Valkyrie, but these operators work really well in unison. And you could also go for a completely different operator take, as that intel game is being covered.
Wasn't it you and I watching last week's match, casting it as well, obviously, and just complaining about how often Rook was picked? Are we on track to have the same thing happen
Is that
again?
a trade?
Yeah.
No,
it was a
John
refrag. It was a really. Yeah, I think it was a reef.
I think we just had 2 different spawn peaks.
Okay, well, Nova coming out swinging. I do want to see how that goes. We're lagging. The server is lagging. We're lagging. Someone is lagging. I hope we're not lagging.
Sorry, that's me. If you couldn't tell by the way I look, I'm still on 720. Not 720, 480, 420. I don't know what it is. I'm still loading. I'm trying to buffer. I looked it up and it's still buffering. That's all.
Did you just say 420?
No, 480. And then I got mixed up and then I realized my mistake.
Okay, well, the attack, they have established a little bit of control there over on the master bedroom side. Habana now pushed in solo, and she will be droning that out, which I do like, but again, the fact that she pushed in before droning is, I don't know, you can get punished for that, especially if no one's watching your push and you're just on drone defenseless. Not the biggest fan of it, but no one has contested her so far, so I guess Momo is chilling at least for now. There's no one really pushing with him, though, and that's something that I'm bothered by. He doesn't need his friends. Momo finds the entry. John falling on early again. And it really hasn't been his game.
Momo's done a phenomenal job. Momo, not Mumu. They're going to have a fun time seeing that in the VOD review. They've done a phenomenal job of just droning for themselves. That's not the most efficient thing to see. Maverick, you're not going to be able to break that off. You're just going to have to use your blue torches. The bottom end that you are missing. Highly unfortunate. Really hard for that Maverick, and Maverick tricking is a skill that it takes a lot of time to work on. We don't know if they've gotten any other wall, but they're on their final canister. That is quite worrisome that they are not able to set it up as properly as they need to, as that is causing their team to linger far, far behind. Garden City, you have to have these things prepared. You have to make sure you're getting in, because otherwise it's going to be Nova in such a key position from the fault of your own. Momo was in position. They had the ability to push and keep pushing, but they weren't assisted by their teammates.
Yep, and we are probably going to see a quick engagement coming out in Attic. Everyone's going to be pushing up. Cade is ready for him, though. Can he make 2 out of that? It's all up to the Twitch to clutch this one out. She just got off-thrown. It's a 1v3, and Cade is low on HP. There we go. That's the first one. F2 in hand. Amazing gun. Great damage. Great fire rate. If anyone can make it work, it is the Twitch. But it's only 15 seconds left. They have the case in their pocket, so at least they have that going on. They're being yellow pinged, and there we go. They actually find another one. Can then make it 2. They get tagged up, but they don't know where it's coming from. They finally turn in the right direction, but they have to go for the plant, which now they will be sticking. But the Valkyrie, she can just play for time. She's pushing up quite aggressively. No more C4 to 9. The plant actually goes down, but the Twitch, she looks the wrong way. And it's going to be a round for Nova.
It looks like it was a good attempt by the Twitch. They also got the ability to pat their stats by getting that plant down. But ultimately, it was on the side of Nova that had full control of that site consistently. That can't be overlooked. At no point was Garden City looking with their scopes constantly trained. And Nova said, all right, yeah, we're just going to completely give this up. There's no way we can hold it. That was not the case, but regardless, that round demonstrated Garden City's inability to take key aspects of the map. So going forward, especially for a site like Laundry Room and Supply, we need to see them clear the map efficiently, get the hatches into their control if that's the push they are going for, and most importantly, they have to do it in a timely manner. They can't be rushing for that plant at the very last second.
Yeah, it does seem like Garden City has been pushing out onto the side quite late. That was the case in round 1 that unfortunately, ended up being cut off. That was the case in round 2 as well. But Twitch, she still somehow made it work. It was a 1v3 and the defenders, they just swung her one by one, and they gave her the gunfights to make it a 1v1. And all the pressure then was on the Valkyrie. She had to make the call on when to push. And it was a little early for my taste. I'm not going to lie to you. I feel like she could have baited there for time a little bit longer to make sure Twitch doesn't stick off or anything. But at the same time, she got the dub, so I can't complain. It came too close for comfort, though, especially if you're a Nova fan. And, well, I don't know. I want to see how Garden City do throughout this entire series.
First time we see a zombie here in NJCAAE. Really interested to see how they use those exploding knives to their advantage, if they're going to be used during the pre-round as a setup, or if we're going to see that they actually opt to throw them all around in a way that actually favors a push towards just stopping it if there's a hole that's opened up. Because let's not forget that, oh, what is this? This is interesting. Boxy, I haven't been able to play with this new operator too much and see what works the best. What type of angle is that just disrupting?
I haven't seen that angle specifically. I do feel like the one that's closer to the bunker doors is going to be meleeed off, or even, just exploded to Kingdom Come very soon. But I do like that other one, though. I do like this one on elbow. I haven't seen it come out yet in rank or in comp for that matter, mostly because she's banned. But I do like the fact that people are using Zami more as an operator to, they kind of throw the kunais close on the side, and they can create new unique angles and block off some other common angles with them. I really like the fact that she's being used that way. And I like the fact that Nova's doing the same thing. But back to the action at hand. Hai on the Wamai is going to be the first one to fall, and now John has been down as well. Not his game. He got the entry of the series, and after that, he keeps getting shut down consistently. There you to come on Ash. We'll clear elbow out, get rid of those ADSs. The wall has been reinforced, but that's one less angle, one less push to worry about if you're an attacker. Now they can focus on just taking Pillar, taking Freezer, which I think they're doing at the same time. And Ash is going to put in double. There you go. Make that 2. Zami, she will get another kill as well. It's all falling apart from Nova, before Nova, rather.
John picked up, is going to be able to find a kill to the name, make that 2. They're single-handedly being able to stop this push, but spraying towards Pillar. They are
Oh
looking to find the
no.
kill. Instead, it's going to be Shorty got a gun to find the kill, leaving it all left up to the lonesome defender of Munugui. Wow. You don't see that every day now, do you, Boxy? We'll try to break that down as much as we can, but that seemed like it was just Garden City swinging around and being able to really pinch and split the site.
Yeah. I mean, first of all, great entry pushes coming out from Gordon. They just keep isolating those 1v1s and they keep winning them. So that is a huge deterrent in their rounds as it is. But also, they manage to not throw their man advantage away when they have it, which is something that we don't see a lot of tier 3 teams do. It feels like, most of these lower league teams, when they get the advantage, they then take cocky gunfights and they end up being punished for it. Garden City hasn't been doing that so far, and I really hope they stay on course because that is a huge thing. If you're a lower team, that's a huge thing to improve upon. Regardless, we're going to be watching another basement defense and pretty standard defending lineup or attacking lineup as well, actually, besides that Blackbeard. I don't know why, but we keep insisting on bringing the Blackbeard, and I really see zero benefits to it.
Yeah, I don't. It hasn't worked out. It's a pick that you take on a certain site that favors that single shot, but especially on a site like Basement. You swing around, you see a corner. You're going to have the ability to spray not just the head, but for the body as well. So those two shields are not going to favor you nearly as much as you may think. Regardless, refocusing on the defense for this round, Nova going for an extension. I love this angle that's been established by the vigil of Panther, situated all the way up on the third floor. They're watching for the stairs to come up. They just have to be very cautious if they get droned out, but they're vigil, so that should help them out. But the impact makes a very clear and blatant demonstration of the way the pushes come out.
Yep. I mean, you pretty much said that perfectly. We do have Ty Guy, or that guy, excuse me, on the Blackbeard and back tower already. No one to contest there just yet. Momo pushes down Laundry, and there we go. That's the entry onto Wamai. Once again, 0-4 currently for the Wamai, so something's clearly not going right for them. Wild Panther, though, in at the top of Big Tower, will go for a flank. His scanning or cloaking rather is activated so no drones should catch him off guard, and there we go. That's one kill. Blackbeard is off the board, but now his position has been given away. A lot of damage done onto the Maverick with what I can only assume was a smoke canister with how it was ticked off a little by little by little. You have just a little bit of lag coming out there, and I'm just very
Oh, it's the
happy that it's
electric
not
shuffle.
beef. Yeah.
It's the electric shuffle. If you've watched the new Lego Star Wars trailer, that's just Order
I
67.
haven't.
So just makes everyone want to dance. Regardless, Moon is going to be able to collect a frag. Meanwhile, Panther also able to pick up a second to their name on the round. Make that a third. Finding these headshots, all three headshots thus far. That leaves Shorty got a gun stuck inside a blue, unable to use that Maverick torch to good effect. I don't know what the idea or the mentality behind that was. A really good way to use Maverick is to go for a line above and a line on the bottom. If you go all the way across, it does cut things off quite brilliantly. But they've lined themselves up to deal with Panther, and Panther will be able to collect a fourth on the round, single-handedly shutting down all from Big Tower side. They started at the top, made their way all the way down, and managed to find 4 astonishing kills.
Yep, and somehow the scoreline has been equalized out. It's 2-2, but it feels like Garden City, they've been winning their rounds very convincingly, whereas Nova have always won, in that either a clutch or off of a huge play of one of their players, and that is not a trend that they can keep affording going forward. I'm sorry, words are escaping me. It is 2 a.m., so there is that. But yeah, it just feels like Nova, whenever they win around, it was gifted to them, at least to some extent, by Garden City. And I do hope that they can improve on that in the future because otherwise, I'm not sure. I do think we could potentially be seeing a 2-mapper even going on to Garden City. And again, we've been wrong before. Caster's Curse is a thing, so I wouldn't be surprised if Nova, they just go ballistic right after I said Garden City were way better and the favorites to win.
Well, you have a point that this is Garden City's map, but it does not excuse the fact that Oregon is a really central map that a lot of teams have a really solid foundations on. We could also credit these recent 2 rounds to the ability for Nova just to be able to adapt. It has been 2 rounds. They were able to win over on round 1. No, no, it was yes, it was round 2, so
Like you're
I
talking about kids?
yeah,
You've seen them in rounds 1 and 2. Yeah,
2.
1 and 2. 1 and 2. Yeah.
So, how long is the delay to go back to a site? 'Cause it doesn't feel like it's been 2 rounds.
It has been 2 rounds.
Oh, it
It
has been
was
2 rounds. I'm
Yeah,
losing my
that's
mind,
how math
Boxy.
works. So
Time
first there's one,
flies.
and then there's two. When you add another one, it's three, and then it's four. So round one and
Ha ha! I tried to school me, and he gets cut off by his internet. That is karma at its best. But I figured out how to do math. Thank you, Boxy, for the quick math lesson. I
you're welcome.
honestly needed that, helping me stay awake and stay aware. Something that is really important in Rainbow Six Siege. You cannot let your guard down for a second, otherwise you'll have to deal with the gun barrel of your opponent up in your face, and you won't even know how it happened.
Yep, we have seen Momo and Habana consistently just push into master bedroom and has been relatively uncontested. Again, the fact that they push in and then they draw on adjacent rooms is not my favorite thing in the world because they can get pushed from that very easily. There's going to be Shorty falling on first as the Valkyrie gets the entry right as a Jackal tried going for those feet scans. So that's a great entry coming out from Nova. They can just capitalize on that advantage. They could potentially take the lead the first time in the entire series, if I'm not mistaken.
I'm interested to see if that will come to fruition, but meanwhile, this attic push is where we set
Oh
our
no. Oh
focus. The
no.
Wamai not being spotted out by the defenders will catch that first nade, and those swiftly thrown out by the Maverick of Chronic Swifty. The 2 kills will come out on the side of Garden City. However, they come out successful on the attic side. This forces the Valkyrie of Toxic to wait down below, try to find a lingering attacker. And Wild Panther, interestingly enough, is taking the close angle. They have the threat. And who did not pick up their Rook armor? You need to be picking that up. It should not be 48 seconds in the round and not getting picked up. Nade will be thrown, dropped on the ground, and completely ineffectual, but pick up that Rook armor. There is no reason for that.
Oh, there we go. That's a double for Valkyrie. It's all up to the Blackbeard, who has contributed absolutely nothing on that window. Again, keep bringing something else. Why is Blackbeard played so much in this matchup? That just baffles me. I guess he doesn't get one kill.
It just worked.
But
It
20
just
seconds.
worked.
Well, yeah, but you just lose so much other important utility. You could have played Wish You a Theme. But no, you just baited on the window. Now that everyone's dead, and there we go. You die as you repel in because you needed to push in. Because again, Garden City, they waited until the last second. It was 20 seconds left on the clock. The last remaining attacker was forced to push in, and the defenders, they were ready. So I know you can't see my face right now, but it looks like a face that's in pain. Okay. We keep seeing this Blackbeard, and it's being insta-locked as well. It's not like a last second, I don't know what to pick. It's like, I'm consciously going to select Blackbeard every single round. I'm going to play Blackbeard every single round. Well, there's so much other utility that you're leaving off the table. You could be doing so much else with that operator pick that isn't Blackbeard. But no, we keep seeing the Blackbeard. And again, if it ended up working, if you're a Blackbeard player, if he was putting up huge numbers while everyone else was alive, then I can't complain about it. But
defenders, protect your bombs from
they're
being
not,
defused by
okay?
attackers.
That guy, he's 2-4-1 at the moment. And he was just baiting on the window for mostly the entire round last round. So I'm very mad, as you can tell.
Well, Boxy, that guy has a name. It's that guy, 86753.
Yeah, you really want to talk about numbers again? Is that where you want to go?
Oh,
Mr.
no,
1, 2, 3, 4?
No, it's okay.
Yeah.
You're right. We can leave it at that guy. Regardless, 10 seconds to go. Capcan is going to be the next big pick on the side of Nova, as well as a second trap operator, arguably a third with Legion and the Aruni. But interestingly enough, on this kitchen side, it looks like Toxic will be opting to control small tower. This is a really daunting task and is often viewed as borderline impossible, all from the immense routes that you can take to clear them out. You either break open the window, which takes away all their lines of sight, or you can even go from bottom up, where even once they try to swing out, you have all these different angles. It's an absolute kill box. I don't understand why you would try to disable it for so long.
I mean, if you have the right support around it, then I do kind of see it playing out. Even if you have a player that they can play their life and they can get one or two picks out of it, then sure. But no, it was the Legion, right? It was the Legion playing in the small
Mhm.
tower, and it's an operator that gradually gains more of his gadget as the round progresses. It makes sense to either have roam and then Goo is rotates off as he gets back to side late in the round, or alternatively, just have him be inside and throw out those goos as they get caught by the attackers. But nope, Legion could be the first one to die if the attackers decide to clear out some more tower. That hasn't been the case yet, but a kids and a big window push is something that they decided to go for. The wall for meeting is going to get breached. There we go. It took me a second. John actually gets the entry for once, and it's going to be that guy falling. So Blackbeard contributes absolutely zero to the round once again. The best thing he can do for his team now is to go onto drones. And you can do that on literally any operator once you die. So that's nothing special. I don't know, man. I'm getting mad. I'm really mad.
Well, don't worry about it. I
Oh,
believe that Daru to come for me.
dare you. No.
Dare you. Oh,
I dare you. Yeah, I
dare you to
dare
come for
you.
me. Okay, well, I figured it out. Now they'll be licking their wounds for the rest of the round as finally Shorty got a gun. He's going to go for the refrag onto John. Make that two. They made their way into sight. How has this happened? A random hatch drop has been the clear culprit that could cost Nova this final round on their defensive half. Plant successful from the Maverick. Looking for a kill, but Shorty got a gun. Is going to get gunned down by the Aruni on the side of Garden City. They've been able to take back part of the site, but because of the strategic plant location, it gives a lot of power to Garden City to just sit back, relax, and see where the round goes.
Chronic still has two grenades in the pocket as well. Make that just one, but the Aruni Gate, last time we've seen it, hasn't been burned yet. Nice swing from Swifty there, though, as he leaves just the Capcan up. And the Capcan's going to be pushing up, but Swifty, he's ready. Make that two for him, plus the plant. And a great route coming out from the attackers in general as we equalize scoreline out once again. And then now we're switching, finally, sides around. Noah's going to be on attack. Garden City's going to be on defense as we head into round 7. And what are your predictions now that you've seen both teams play for a few rounds?
Within these both teams, it's like drinking from a fire hose. You can't go head on.
Okay.
I'll explain this analogy for you because I feel like I might have lost some people there. When you drink from a fire hose, if you drink from the side, then you're able to get a little bit. But if you go right in front of that fire hose at full blast, it's going to blast you right on away. You're not going to get any of that water, and it's going to hurt a hell of a lot. So for both of these teams, especially in the attack, I want to see that they are actually going. And on the defensive end, the attackers can come on as a brute force. They have to make sure that they have the ability to cut them off, to meet that force with force in a sense. But especially for the attackers now, you want to make sure that you're not going straight towards sight, because when you do that, oftentimes you have all these defenders that are ready and their gun barrels are aimed directly towards you. You want to slowly pick things off, go with more than one route, because then you're taking it from the sides, you're drinking from the sides, and by the end of the day, you're actually getting that water.
Okay, well, that's definitely an interesting analogy. I feel like I've heard it before, but I've never had it explained quite like this. So I'll look at that differently now, I guess. First round, held by Garden City, and their defense is going to be kids, so nothing wild coming out of them. I do like their operator picks. I like the Maestro, I like the Mute, the Jaeger, the Legion. Not the biggest fan of Vigil, but with Momo having a 2.0 KD, being 8 and 4 at the moment, you really can't complain. The man can do whatever the hell he wants. Look at that. Look at Nova. We're also seeing a Blackbeard brought out. And has there been a hidden Blackbeard buff that I've missed somehow in the last 2 weeks?
I don't know, but I think these teams like the idea for this second floor to be able to sit on the window and just hold it with a lot of security. It is
Okay, but
really worth mentioning that OSA does a phenomenal job of this and creates constant pressure for the defenders to deal with. But of course, Blackbeard can do it better to some degree. It's just it's a little bit different. I think that's something that we have to remember. And it could be a comfort thing for these teams. They enjoy taking Blackbeard's Mark 13, and I don't understand why and why you would go for the shock onto Vigil. That's a really big waste of utility, and it doesn't do much, especially considering you could have gone to the window and shot right on through. John could have rotated around. You got to use that information a lot more effectively.
Yep. Well, at least things are going better for the attack on the other side of the map. The breach is being opened up now. There will get 1 kill, and it's going to be Finka falling on early. John has been on the wrong side of the barrel early on in the rounds, very early in quite a few of those rounds. Good to see nothing's changed as they switch to attack. But other than that, at least the attackers have established they have some semblance of map control. There you go. He will put in work. He will make that 2 picks. The ace, he has done his job so far, but also he's dead. A little bit of lag detected coming out, and it's not on my side for once, as we have witnessed Dare You to come for me, swing out for the 3rd time after getting the 2 picks. That's very
Oh
ballsy, and
no.
well, the siege gods, yep, the siege gods are just not inclined for us today.
We're not too sure what's going on. I don't know if we're going to go to a quick break or if we're just going to wait and fill for you guys while we get this lobby set back up.
Well, we gotta see what the status is first. I think Max is just gonna do a quick check, see if he can rejoin. If not, we may pause the game. I don't know. We'll see. But, well, we actually have a decent sample size of rounds. We've seen 7 or 6.5 rather of them play out so far. So I think we can kind of start talking about both teams and what's going on with them.
Yeah, so far what we've seen through the game is a lot of interesting habits established. On the side of
Mm-hmm.
Nova, they they oftentimes, and we've seen highlight plays that we saw during the first half where we had the vigil play, top tower, rotate down. They're really trying to catch Garden City off guard, but it is not just that. We're hopping back to game right away. So a nice little break. So I'm not going to dive too deep into what I was saying, but I will round it off rather neatly in saying that Nova has the ability to really reach and take what they want. And when they don't have it, they just have to have that creative aspect. And going towards playoffs, it's that exact hurdle that they have to get over. So I'm looking for people like Panther to be able to swing on that buck down below, open up a wall that will favor his team not early on, maybe not midway, but even in that late round.
Well, my heart is already happy. There's no Blackbeard on the board this time around, at least not yet. There's always the repick option, and we're seeing an Iana instead, which is something we've sorely missed throughout this series so far. We haven't seen an Iana, we haven't seen a Nomad, we haven't seen, like you pointed out, even an Osa would have been a very welcome pick in this matchup, especially if you want this kind of like having a bulletproof on the window, on the kids repel, on the attic maybe, and I don't know, Osa. Sure, her competitive pick rate and win rates weren't that high, but this again is T4 and T3 we're talking about. So I feel like if you just played Elsa properly, you could get in so much work with her, much more than you can get with Blackbeard, especially off of the fact that, she can place her shields down. She has 2 shields just like Blackbeard does, but he places them on his gun, so they move along with him, and her shields are stationary, which means even your teammates can play them, right? So
You can pick them up though, if I am correct.
I'm pretty sure, yeah.
You are able to pick those shields back up, which makes them really, really useful. We talked who's absent on the attacker side, but we haven't talked about the SAS operator that is absent from the defense. It looks like Garden City has opted not to take the smoke as well as an extension into Blue Tunnel. This could be a conscious choice or an adaptation, but it's rather interesting considering that the mute will most likely not do a sufficient job with Maverick being there on the board. Nova also getting really aggressive with their, not Nova, Garden City getting really, really aggressive with their looks to the other side. Even from Electrical, dare you to peek me, or dare you to come for me, is going to be able to find one, as well as Momo will fall. That's the roaming vigil. Really interesting so far from Garden City on how they've chosen to be extra aggressive on their defense.
Yep, Panther. He picks up another one that's there to come for me off the board for the round as well. And dare you, they've been putting in so much work, getting so many impactful frags in the last few rounds that not having them is going to hurt them a lot. Cronus, he's going to go for the swing onto Maverick. No shots connect as of yet. The defense, yes, they are a man down, but they can just sit there. They can just go for those trades should they need to. Chronic's getting just a little bit of restless there.
They haven't really been able to attempt everything that they want to. Nova has the control that they could possibly need. This Maverick hole, once again, being unsuccessful. You have to have an idea. Either you are going for the mute jammer in combination with the ace, which is taken off the board. But in this case, you don't want to go for big peaks like these. And when you go from the side, you're burning at 2 different layers, which means you're going to be taking up double the canister. It hurts you immensely, and especially for a Maverick player, you want to have a clear line. You don't want to be jumping around,
Oh
otherwise you leave
no.
holes, you leave yourself vulnerable, and Chronic Swifty will swing right on there in there with his R4C, not R4C, his Carbine, and just snag that kill right out of your hands.
Yeah, it is the 416 Carbine. 35 seconds left. The Evil Eye on elbow finally gets destroyed on pillar, rather, excuse me. The guy, though, he gets taken out. Quite a nice shot there from Nomad. Panther with one of his own. It's all up to Chronix to clutch this one up. 11-3-1 currently. Can they keep it up? Can they keep Garden City up ahead? Nova. The plant goes down, so now Chronix is in the offense. But even before that happens, the Nomad, she wraps the round up neatly in a bow, and she equalizes the score line. So it's 4-4. And that was a very chaotic round. I'm not going to lie to you.
I don't know how much Garden City prepared for such a heavy electrical push to come out. I wasn't in all reality, if we were to take a screenshot and have to assume what was going to happen during that round, it did look very much like Garden City, once that Maverick player was eliminated, that it would be extremely hard for Nova to take that round. However, it was, as we all observed, their ability to sweep on into sight was just completely unrivaled, and those gunfights is what won them the round. So as Guardian City reattempts the same site of basement, I'm really looking for key plays, whether or not you're going to be disabling the entirety of blue. And I do like there's a switch to the Cade. Shorty got a gun. This could work out well. They're only reinforcing one side, but I don't know who is going to even attempt to hold down that blue corridor if you don't have any shield on your side. You don't have any proximity denial that smoke creates. And nobody can do that quite like Smoke. You can talk about the Tachanka, but his kit is custom. It is almost tailor-made to hold off this elbow inside of blue.
Yeah, my biggest gripe last round was with how Chronix, he was getting on the Jaeger, he was being pushed out from, both the elbow breach and then also the E-box holes, and no one was there to help him out at all. He was alone battling two different angles for so long while the rest of his teammates, they were chilling in laundry and freezer, and Chronix was just left to fend for themselves. You help out your players, especially if they're 11-4-1. They're your only hope in this matchup so far. Momo, he was carrying early on, kind of trailed behind, but still 8-6-2, so I guess there's that. Dare to come also clawed their way back from a negative KD, or at least almost they won't go away. But that guy, 2-7, or yeah, 2-7. There you go. The entry death once again. Shorty also 3-6, not looking great. John, though, pushing up with the Finka LMG into Freezer. Chronic's gonna get away with his life, at least for now. Momo on the flank could absolutely be massive. There we go. That's one. Can he make it two? Yes, he can. And somehow, some way, Garden City, they take the advantage early on once again, but can they keep it up?
It does look like a reality. C4's going to be took out, eliminating the Osa. Really good read here from Dare You to Come For Me. I also need to highlight the lack of a flank watch that we saw early on from Nova, and that has been very, very costly. Both your Finka and Buck, that early on in the round makes it really, really hard to pick up the pieces. You do have the Ace as well as the Nomad, which is quite commonly going to be your flank watch, and a refrag, a delayed one at that, is going to be Dare You to Come For Me. Really the reverse of their name, as they were the ones getting a little bit too over antsy, especially when you have that much of a man advantage. You want to play it back. You don't want to be playing these aggressive angles that allows the attackers to push right on in and allow for such an easy evening out of man count. It was just like that. Nova is in just as much of a power position to be able to push right on in.
Yeah, exactly. Still a minute left, and it's already a 2v2. Everyone's just feeding the enemy team kills. Chronix, though, he gets the down onto high. And, well, it's all up to Ace to clutch this one up. Looks in the right direction, has an approximate idea of where the opponents are, but they need to start pushing in as well. They still have a Claymore, still two Selmas in pocket as well, but being spotted by the Evil Eye sure isn't going to do any It's been great for them. Finds the first one. No, they actually don't. They overshoot just a little bit. That was literally a hair. I'm pretty sure the player in Freezer, they got a haircut there. They can just play time now. 25 seconds left. And Chronix, he's ready. Ace playing this very passively, probably more than he can afford to. No,
Bomb
there we go.
located
They
by
get the
attackers.
kill. They just need one more.
15 seconds
And
remaining.
they do it though. 15 seconds left. They need to sprint up now. They have K, so they could plant, but they look the wrong way as Chronix rotates rounds and swings. In Garden City, they take the lead once again. Before I hand it off to you, I have 2 points that I want to talk about.
Take it away.
Hey, okay, actually, I'll just do one. You know what? I'll just do one. The fact you said this already, and I want to reiterate on it. The fact that there was no flank watch coming out from the attack when they've had a nomad and they've had that nomad push bunker instead is just baffling to me. Why would you need flank watch on bunker, the outside, the external door? Why do you have a nomad there, but not with the 3 people that are pushing freezer that are actually very likely to get flanked? I don't know if that was a miscommunication or something else, but the fact that we just saw that happen while Nomad was just chilling on the other side of the
Attackers need
map
to locate and
is
defuse bombs.
it's frustrating, man.
It is, and it could be credited to the fact that we've seen so many run out aggressive plays, but within those aggressive plays, it's always been sprays out. It's never been run out. So really, you have a very valiant effort. But I want to actually go and highlight something a lot more positive there. Chronic Swifty's ability to just have key positioning throughout that defensive round. Although there's only 2 players on the side of Nova remaining, they showed that they had a
10
really
seconds
good
remaining.
spatial awareness. They were able to rotate in, and as soon as they noticed that
5
their
seconds
comrade
to
of the
insertion.
Kaid had been gunned down inside a freezer, they rotated right on back,
Attackers'
and they
objective
took
is
a
to
really
locate a bomb and
passive
defuse
approach.
it.
They waited knowing that long would be the way for them to peek it. They had the carbine, they had a really solid gun, and they had the sight to assist them. So swinging out, they were able to catch the, I believe, ace completely off guard, swinging in towards supply. So great positioning by Chronic, and I'm interested to see if that will be the same case within this 10th round.
Another player that I want to briefly touch upon is Dare You Come For Me. We have seen them have a few standout rounds right as we switched the sides when they got on defense on the Mutes MP5K. They were getting a lot of great kills, but ever since they've just been overly aggressive and swinging stuff where there was no refrags established, where there was no one to help them out really. They were just playing their life, counting on the fact that they can win their 1v1s. And while they usually go 1-for-1 in those rounds, it's still not something that you can afford to just give away. So I'm not a fan of that. Back to the round at hand, though. Yellow Pink's coming out. Wild Panther, he pushes in, chases the Legion up the Armory stairs, tags him up just a little bit. But the Legion, he gets away relatively scot-free, and he will be alive to play the rest of the round in the site where he probably should have been in the first place.
Extending on this round with 1:45, Nova has done a really solid job of establishing control. Panther going to be able to really solidify the control inside of bedroom, but we cannot forget about the different flanks that we've seen throughout this match, specifically the side from Garden City. They've done a phenomenal job of being able to find the holes and consistently pushing on that. Now, finally, we had a lot of rounds with sound, but the sound bug will inevitably come out. Oh my goodness. I'd say caught in 4K, but blinded in 4K in this scenario. You can't be missing those blinds, but that's not too dire. There's still a lot of time for Nova to make this up because double window does seem like the approach that they have set their sights on.
Bomb located
Well,
by
luckily
attackers.
it's just us. Without the sound, the players still have it. So there is that. Momo pushes up Armory Stairs, gives away his position by, I assume, shooting a drone. I'm not too sure. Regardless, though, 4v4, 50 seconds left on the clock. Momo rotates the entire way around. And the Nomad, she isn't sure where to push in. She goes for the Pal. I assume there's going to be some upside down shenanigans going on. Nope.
No, that's not going to be the case. A double kill from Panther. Phenomenal job on the Bucks so far through this round. They are spotted out by the Evil Eye. That means that the remaining 3 players of that guy, Dare You, and Chronic will all have the information. It'll actually be that guy, the one collecting that information to find the kill. So a little bit of self-droning, really sufficient individualism for Garden City, and they've set themselves up to win this round as Wild Panther was the one going for the split push. They're the one that was
15
establishing
seconds
a lot of the
left. A
pressure.
bomb has been
Unaware of
located.
the angles, it's going to be Chronic to find a much
10
needed
seconds
kill,
left.
but Toxics made their way in. Hanai on the Nomad,
5
is in a really powerful to deny both of these defenders. Plan successful. It's going to be the Nomad to find the first pick, looking for a second when they're out on the rappel. You know what? Both of these players are still alive. Jaeger, 11 bullets left in the chamber. Nomad to try to hop out. It will not be successful. Pistol in hand. They have 30 seconds. You don't need to get too aggressive here, Jaeger. You're pushing out with the wrong gun. The ace to win it out. You cannot be pushing with such limited resources when you have the time, you have the cover, and in almost every logical situation, the ace is not going to push you.
So, just to play the devil's advocate here, what Chronix or Swifty or whatever you want to call them, what they may have thought there, what their thought process was, okay, I just got to kill on the site. The other one is either, outside big window or in trophy or maybe even drop out the gen window. I feel like that was their thought process. They were like, there's no way they're just stacked up one on another. The other one probably dropped down, is going to go for a rappel, is going to play a long angle. And that's why they just wanted to push in there with the pistol as fast as they could. But they ended up falling short just because the attackers, they ended up stacking up one on another. And it's not something you usually see. It was unexpected. And it caught Chronix by surprise.
Fortunately so. Regardless, key takeaway, reload your primary. You're going to be setting yourself up for a lot more success when you do, as the primary. It's the reason why it's primary and not secondary. Yeah, that would be a really funny game if the pistols were what we all used as the primary and then the actual rifle came secondary.
I mean, that's the at least pre-big SMG nerf that happened like 3 years back now. That pretty much was the case with Smoke, with actually Mute did have it back then, but it was Smoke, Sledge, Habana, Echo. They all just, sometimes even brought shotguns as primaries, with Smoke always, but Sledge sometimes brought a shotgun as primary. Habana, Echo, you've seen them bring shotguns as primary.
Bring back SMG 11 ACOG.
Oh no! Well, we've actually seen like teams like Nora Rango just blow out Habana shotgun just because bearings, they were so strong that you could just use the secondary as a primary, but no longer, and has been a case for quite a while. So now both attackers and defenders really, they've been forced to use their primaries more, and that's something we'll have to see. Momo starts getting pushed out, will take a lot of damage, but will make it away at least for now. Probably the time to activate your gadget so that they can't drone you out as you sprint away. But well, what do I know?
We do have that third-person perspective, which gives us a lot of advantage, but we still don't see everything. But through the outlines, it is quite clear that Nova has a lot of intention of clearing out from this attic side. This is really worrisome, because whenever you see 5 players all collectively go for this attic side, it gives you the intention that that's a single-sided push, and that's a really big canal that the defenders from Garden City will be able to really use and abuse in this scenario. So glad to see that John, as well as H-Hi-I. How are you saying this? Hey-I?
I guess so, yeah. Hey-I? We could just call him H. That would work as well.
Yeah.
If they want to correct this post-game, we'd gladly take it and know what to call them next time around. But yeah, I think Hey-I or just H is probably the way to go here. Back around at hand, though. Still 10 people alive. Just over a minute left on the clock. In the defense, you can tell they're getting restless. They're just sprinting around like headless chickens trying to find the entry pick. That's probably not the play, though. They know they'll be getting pushed from attic. That's the thing that the attack has done every single round where they've been attacking top floor, and B, the breach has already been open. There we go. Panther with the entry finds an opening for his team, but now it's up to the rest of Nova to capitalize upon that. Panther will push up, make that 2 as Chronix fails to hit his shots. To be honest, there were 2 attackers pushing there, so it's kind of hard. You need to select your fights properly. There he comes. He's going to be swinging up next. Actually downs one, and he doesn't know he actually killed the other one, so that's a huge 2-piece for them right there. Even if the Maverick gets picked up, which they will, they have 20 HP to play around with. And they've been so very aggressive. Still the C4 in pocket, they could do so much damage in the last 20 seconds.
It's an interesting concept that we have right here. That guy has the Alda. It has 80 bullets in it, so if they start to spray, that could be huge, but they'll be taken out by the counterpart LMG from It's John. It all comes down to a 3v1, as none of the players in Garden City will be able to find their picks. The C4 can deny everything, but Toxic's not planted in that location. That means the plant will be successful. And 3 kills is what Garden City will have to find in Dare You to Come For Me. Looking for
Oh,
1, they will not be able to find it. Swinging around, they have so many different options. But with 30 seconds, they are draining each and every second. And with every second, they lose an option. They see the player, that fuse, Toxic, will be able to find their kill. And just like that, Nova to find match point.
yep. That was unexpected. I'm gonna be very honest with you. I feel like it's been Garden City prevailing, or at least having the upper hand throughout most of these matches. But somehow Noah, they clawed their way back, and like you said, they pushed match point. I do think if we keep this trend up, we could definitely see Coastline as the decider being played out, and Chronics or Swifty, again, whatever you want to call them. I've mostly been going by Swifty this game. They've been having a really good game so far. They've really been finding not just any frags, they've been finding very impactful frags, and they had a bad round last round. But if we go into overtime, we could see them push 20 for sure, which is well by far the highest in the lobby. Actually, no, never mind. A Wild Panther has overtaken them at 16. So the fact that we may see 20 bombs drop this game is definitely saying something.
I don't really like the highlight plays, but when you see these individual players really showing up, it really shows how they have a really good grasp of either the setup or just the overall positions that they are willing to play. I want to highlight Chronics, or Chronic for that, because we've seen them time and time, especially on this site 2 or 3 rounds ago, where they actually played. They played inside supply, got their kill, and they didn't get greedy. I think that's a really important part. You think, well, if I don't get greedy, I'm not going to get the kill. You may not, but almost every single time, not getting greedy is what can actually allow you to win unwinnable rounds, or to secure rounds that are almost definitely yours, and not give the opponent any chance to claw it back.
Yeah, I wanna clear up a little bit on what you said. At least in my opinion, that's when you want to stay, when you have the advantage, you want to stay passive. You want to stay, not greedy. You gotta just be passive, even if you don't get a kill. When the round is unwinnable, like you said, though, that's when you gotta get aggressive. That's when you gotta go for those Hail Mary plays that may not end up working out, but if you do nothing, you will lose anyways. So there's quite a distinction between the two. I know what you were trying to say. You just kind of said a little bit of both and mumbled it up. But we're going to be seeing a push from Panther coming out. A nice free fire there. And they deal about as much damage as they take, so that's evened out, at least for now. Drones coming out from Nova, which I like. We haven't seen many of those yet. And I have to say this quite often during NJCAA. I'm not a fan of that. We need to start droning more. Anyone that's watching, anyone that's playing, please use your drones. They're in the game for a reason.
Yeah, especially during these prep phases, we saw that there was no incentive for any of these attackers to be droning. But now with that repick within the prep phase, you have a lot more incentive to say, hey, let's see what operators they're taking. Let's see how we can counterplay this. So a really interesting push. Not to mention the fact that it's a minute 23 and there's a lot of blue control. And the player of the mute Dare You to Come For Me, once again, this over aggression will prove to be their demise. Shorty Got a Gun is on this flank. If they are able to successfully hold Big Tower Stairs, that could spell absolute destruction for the push in Nova, forcing them in through supply wall and giving, once again, the players of Garden City a major advantage.
Wild Panther's leg sticking out there. Takes just a little bit of damage from Maestro's Evil Eye, so that's all something to annoy and frustrate the attackers at least. 4v4, still 45 seconds left, and everyone is just kind of holding out in bunker. H, though, gets the kill onto Momo. Absolutely huge as Momo gets shut down, and now they get to go onto Cam Duty. Shorty, though, hasn't really been active this game, 5 and 9, but this flank, it could be massive, though they need to be patient with it because the attackers, they haven't pushed out far enough for the flank to really be punishing or effective. 3 of the 4 remaining attackers actually make that all 4 their own bunker side, meaning that the Melusi, she needs to play this patiently, but she gives away her position. Chronix falls as well. It's all falling apart for Garden City as Nova are more and more sure to win this one. 10 seconds left, the push on the side is coming out, and Ace gets down, but the plant is still being stuck. Effectively a 2v2, but the plant is denied last second. That's huge from the guy, and while he finds one, time runs out. We're going into overtime.
You saw the Buck trying to go and pick up that defuse but just simply not enough time. And really well done by the Meisters to wait that extra second, or just to be able to play such a pivotal position in denying. On the side of the attackers of Nova, you want to make sure that when you have those holes, when you have those lines of sight, that you're watching them. And it comes back to your overarching point of the upon that round, that droning is essential. Sure, there's a mute on the board, and there has been a mute consistently, but once you're in, you can toss a drone up onto a shelf, and any player who is dead, they have the ability to watch those cameras, giving you so much
Attackers
information.
need to
It can
locate
turn the
and
tide of the
defuse
round
as many
just
bombs as
like
they
that.
can.
Yep, exactly what she said there. So we're going into overtime, and now 20 bombs are almost certain. Although
Bomb
All
located by
Panther and
attackers.
Chronix, neither of them really got a kill last round, if I'm not mistaken. So they are still 15-16 respectively. I do want to see if at least one of them can maybe push that big magical number, because dropping 20, that's not something you see every day.
Yeah, it would be really pushing 20 is already something you don't see too
10
often,
seconds
but seeing
remaining.
two players get to 20, now that would be a crazy, crazy
5
sight.
seconds left.
Interesting enough, throughout this pick phase, we actually see three people switch who they are
Attackers'
taking.
objective
A
is to
Jackal from
defuse
It's
the
John,
bomb.
and we're going to see H go for the ace pick, previously taken by Toxic. So Toxic switching over to the Fama. So I'm really happy to see that we are seeing these switches on the side of Nova for this what could be their final attacking round. But change is so very essential, and I gotta give H a lot more credit that they are doing exactly what we wanted. They're going for a lot more droning, and it's allowing them to spot out players like Momo who are getting aggressive.
Yeah, and on defense, I would still say Dairy to come from me. They've really been the most aggressive one. Maybe they've toned it down in the last few rounds a little bit, and while the kills haven't been coming in, Dairy has been staying alive for much longer, so at least they have that going on. Speaking of staying alive much longer, Momo's not going to be able to achieve that as they fall to Wild Panther shots. Panther absolutely relentless on that box. C4 comes out, but it's too late. The breach now open, and the elbows are taken. Chronic's gonna be playing up the freezer stairs, and he knows someone's coming there. It's actually two attackers pushing that shortly on the same plane, because we've seen them push last round. And I'm not sure if anyone's actually pushing that. I feel like it's just a freezer or a shover side and then a bunker push. So Shorty, they need to get back to side. They need to help their team out, just like Chronix is doing right now.
With the minute 32, a 4v4, and Garden City is wasting no time getting aggressive, trying to push out any of these players within blue bunker. The problem with
Oh,
that Rooney gate is that it actually gives away anytime someone's going for the push, unless they go for a wide swing. Dare you, possibly getting aggressive, he'll die to the ace of H. But I've got to wonder, where are these pushes coming from? Nova has made very little advances, and it's just a matter of them holding the angles that are constantly being peaked by their opponents. The Jaeger Chronic will be down in the process, a swing around, and it's just an absolute burning fire of oranges. Nova cleans up all off the backs of the defenders of Garden City swinging right on out. One of the key things on that defending side is that you have to wait for the attackers to come to you, and patience is an absolute virtue.
yeah, and that's not something we've seen from Garden City in the last few rounds. They've just been so very aggressive, sprinting around, looking for the engagements, and it felt like it worked in their initial defensive rounds because Nova weren't expecting it. But as soon as Nova got accustomed to it, they got back into driver's seat, and they just kept winning and winning rounds. So it's up to Garden City really to stop giving those free picks away to Nova, because Nova at the moment they're reading them like a book. In what could be the last round of the map, though, we are going to be seeing kids, if I'm
Defenders,
not
protect your bombs
mistaken.
from being
Yep.
defused by
Up.
attackers.
Yep. Okay. So, what are your predictions for the bomb side specifically with the lineups that we have? We have your favorite Rook being picked by John again. We
Well,
also have a
I don't
Blackbeard
really
by that
care
guy.
about the Rook as long as it does net them the frags, and as long as everyone picks up the armor. I don't have many pet peeves within Rainbow Six Siege, but I do
Attackers have
care when
located the
there's
bomb.
still armor within that baggie. So Panther, I believe, should be the very final operator to take it. So thank you for making sure that I don't have a little tantrum. Thank you for highlighting, Max. I really needed that.
10
But
seconds remaining.
on to my point about bedroom. within bedroom, you have to make sure that you stop any sort of split push. And when the split push comes out, you have a plan. You have an ability to split. That's where you see such a common push where it's either they come from master bedroom and double window with a little hint of attic, or they'll go for that attic as well as master bedroom, assisted possibly the window. But the reason why I bring these three main areas up, attic, window, master bedroom wall, as well as trophy door, is because those are the primary aspects. You can talk about white stairs, but within each of these, they have to complement each other. One of them, for example, if you go for white stairs and attic, but you don't have full control of attic, that white stairs is extremely vulnerable to any of the defenders swinging out and pushing them. That entail enables every single defender to just turn their attention and keep constantly changing where they need to look. The pinch is not there, the pressure isn't there, thus giving the attackers a complete disadvantage.
Well, my biggest problem with the setup from Nova is the fact that there's only a single bench on white stairs in terms of utility, and there's no white rotate made into generator either, or at least it used to be called generator. It's still referred to as that. But yeah, the fact that there's nothing there really, and it's just there for the taking for attackers, I'm not a fan of. That guy, though, they drone out the person playing an armory, they yellow ping them, and there we go. No, somehow John survives.
The
You're
rook
not allowed to
armor,
get away
the
with that.
rook armor.
You're still not allowed to get away with that. That should have been an easy, surefire kill for the Blackbeard, but somehow they end up falling, and that's absolutely tragic for the attack. They're already a round down, and now they may just end up losing it. Not so fast, though, Daryuk says, as they even the man count out. John falls now, but Ash is on 50 HP for the remainder of the round. Make that a 35 as Panther from the side. He picks up one more. Needs two more for the 20 bomb, and the first one's going to be the Maverick. Nope. Chronix is going to shut down Wild Panther. Just a minute left in this 3v3, and it's all or nothing for Garden City.
Garden City need to pick up the pace if they want to have any chance at this round. They have gone down to the 3v3, and the pace has been picked up. C4's not in the hands. They're going to go for more of an impact, but the duo peak will not work out. But there's the boom we were looking for. Toxic Llama being to Defiant Chronic, leaving Shorty got a gun. The final attack remaining. They have to jump in to stop this defuse. Shots missed by Toxic, but there's absolutely no time as Nova will win the defensive round as well as the Garden City map pick. So it goes the other way. And you gotta wonder, it went all this way only for it to go to the teams who didn't even pick that map.
I don't know. It was definitely a great map. It started off very one-sided, I felt like, even though the scoreline was kind of even throughout the entire series. But by the end, I really was at the edge of my seat. I didn't know who was going to win what. So I am glad we have seen Noah win this one. I do hope GCCC they can win the second one so that we do get to cast Coastline again, because it's always a pleasure. But at the same time, I just want to wrap around to before we go to the break. I want to wrap around. I was talking the fact there's no white rotate established, and the defenders they almost got punished for the Melusi. She had to use both of her impacts that she still had in the pocket to deny the plan. If the rotate was established prior, they wouldn't lose the critical few seconds. The plan probably wouldn't even have gone down. And yes, Garden City they still ended up winning it, but they almost got punished for that exact rotate. So I don't know.
Honestly, I what I'm really curious to see after we come back is if we're going to see Garden City pick up the pace, because that is essential. You got to keep your momentum. So on that note, we're not going to keep these players waiting any longer. We're going to take a 5-minute break and get back to the game as soon as possible. Don't go anywhere. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. This is NJCAA powered by Esports U, and Nova just took the very first map, and I want to say convincingly, but that went a lot longer than I expected it. It took overtime in order for them to take their opponent's map pick. So as we go towards Clubhouse, we have to wonder, is this going to be the exact same format that we see?
I definitely do want to see what ends up happening here, but the fact that Garden City they looked like the more convincing, the more structured team for pretty much most of the game, and then Nova still ended up pulling ahead, I think is very surprising, and I would be very surprised if we didn't go to 3 maps. Obviously, something could drastically change, and Nova could just steamroll Garden City on their map pick of Clubhouse. I think it's going to be a damn shame if we don't end up on that decider map. First things first, though, I think we're ready to start going into the game. But again, I've asked you this, before Oregon. Do you have any thoughts about Clubhouse, maybe, before we get into it?
Clubhouse has really critical points, just like we see. I want to talk about what I saw yesterday while casting CCL, where these teams were having a lot of trouble defending the hatch inside of Kitchen when defending Arsenal downstairs. They were dedicating so many resources, and when you throw so many resources at something that just needs to go to the attackers, then you are shooting yourself in the foot with your ability to cover elsewhere. You can put a solid amount of utility, but the moment that you send all of your utility, all of your time towards one spot, you have to accept that the attackers are going to take certain parts of the map, and you just have to play, all right, I need to keep that in the back of my mind and work with it moving forward.
Yeah, I mean, definitely agreed. Okay. Yeah, okay.
You're back.
Yeah. Well, anyone that's watched any of NJCAA or even anything else that I cast every now and then, you'll know that just happens every now and then. My internet being my internet. So again, sorry about that. But yeah, going into Clubhouse, I want to see how both of these teams play. I want to see if we can finally get rid of those Blackbeard picks. I want to see if we can maybe sub them in for a Nosa. I do want to see what the operator bans are like as well. If you remember last round, we've had two very standard and two quite unorthodox bans or uncommon bans, with the common ones being Thatcher and Mira, and then the uncommon ones were Thunderbird and Flores, if I'm not mistaken. So I want to see how that ends up playing out. I feel like Thunderbird in play, a lot of rounds could have gone very differently because we've seen both teams have roamers kind of spread out very far from side, take an engagement, lose a lot of HP, and then make it back to side. If you had the Thunderbird heal up on side, maybe you win another gunfight later on that you wouldn't have in the first place. So Thunderbird being in play would be awesome. Floors to help out with some of the utility that the attackers have had problems with also wouldn't be bad. What do you think, though, in terms of operator bans?
I think on Clubhouse you should have the Maverick ban. If the Maverick's not banned out, you're essentially making CC a site that is almost undefendable because of how quickly things are opened up. With that being said, I think Maverick can actually stay on the board this time around because both these teams have demonstrated in the previous map they have a lot of trouble going for that Maverick trick, even in positions where they're not particularly vulnerable. So if I was on these teams and I accepted the fact, hey, we're not going to be able to use that Maverick, I would let him slip right by that ban phase and try to maybe take away something that my opponents is more comfortable with.
I like the fact that you basically just said both teams suck with Maverick, but in a very diplomatic way. That's
That's not
oh,
what I'm saying. They both
eh.
use his ability to really key integral parts, but they're not using it to necessarily what we see at the pro level with going for a standard Maverick trick of going top and bottom. They're going more for the holes, and it has netted them a couple of kills, but at the same time, it allows for that kill hole to go both ways.
Even the holes though, they haven't been working as as the attackers at the time wanted to, whether it was Nova or GCCC attacking. It was always like, hey, we're gonna make this breach, we're gonna make this hole, we're gonna walk over or maybe get rid of the mute, but they ended up being shot through it or shooting through it to get to the defender. So I don't know. I feel like even if you weren't saying it, I will say I feel like both teams do need to practice out some Maverick. And I can't actually remember who it was that we saw on elbow just kind of have trouble with opening the wall.
No,
Um,
like, normally you see Swiss cheese be the reason why Mavericks have trouble. You don't really normally see Mavericks create the Swiss cheese themselves. And once that Swiss cheese is there, when I say Swiss cheese, it means that there's a whole bunch of different holes that you have to worry about. In this scenario, the Maverick did it to themselves, and they didn't know particularly what part of the wall they had to burn off. Not to mention the fact that they only had one canister left. Maverick has more than enough canisters, so I'm interested to see here on Clubhouse if they're going to go for the Maverick pick or if Habana, if she escapes the ban phase, will be a really relevant and prevalent operator.
Okay, well, just before we get into the operator bans, the one thing that I think is the thing to look out on Clubhouse is if we're actually going to be seeing those garage and CC pushes once we're defending CC and cash, or if we're going to be seeing more of construction takes, because that has been a trend in NJCAAE recently. Almost every Clubhouse that I remember, garage was just kind of neglected, even though it's so very strong. Most teams just decided to either go for the red stairs or the CC window or the breach, or most commonly actually construction. So that's something to keep our eyes on. But there you go. We should not worry about bad Maverick plays and Swiss cheeses, because Maverick's going to be banned alongside Thatcher on defense now. We can definitely expect something along the lines of a Cade ban. The last one is a little bit of a wild card, but again, it's safe to assume it's either going to be Mira or a Valkyrie.
Really standard stuff. Now, here's the interesting part. Cade is now banned. That means that most of the time it's going to be mute on the board from the defenders of Garden City or even Nova after the split. I want to introduce something really baffling to me, and I realized how relevant and how powerful the operator of Fuse can be on the attacking side for getting into these sites and getting either any sort of mute jammer off a wall. We also saw that Fuse with his secondary hard breach can actually clear out the entirety of construction on their own. If they throw a cluster charge on the side of construction wall, it shoots right on in because it is a dome effect. It doesn't just go straight up above it. It will actually create a dome. So for the mute player, they have no way of denying it. Once that cluster charge is detonated inside of construction, mute jammer's gone, secondary hard breach, and just like that, you send one operator. They do both the denial to get things off the wall, and they can also get into the site, quite reminiscent of Zero.
Yep. I mean, you've pretty much encapsulated it perfectly. Nothing there to add. And CCTV is going to be first up. So, again, I do want to see if we actually end up seeing a garage take, because they haven't really been all that common in NJCAAE, at least throughout the matches that we've had casted throughout the season. And it's actually honestly wild to think that the season is coming to a close, Bings. Okay? It went by so fast.
It has flown by really quickly. I'm really happy that I joined for these last couple matches with you. It's been an honor to be both budget fellow and now promoted back to Binks. It warms my heart. So thank you very much. And I think I haven't highlighted our team enough. I gotta highlight K-Tat, who's been doing a phenomenal job producing, and Max. Always an absolute pleasure to work with all of you. Max, you've caught all the action for us, and I cannot thank you enough, because without you, our jobs would be non-existent. We're always the ones talking to you guys. You guys don't realize how phenomenal our producers are. You don't realize how much work they do, and you can keep spinning that camera, Max, but like, we appreciate you guys.
Okay, well, we should save that for after playoffs. You know, we can get all emotional and teary-eyed. But for now, let's focus on game 2 between Garden City and Nova. There we go. There's the aggression that I was talking about on Oregon. They're going to be the entry death on Clubhouses. They just spawn peek the most obvious door, and appropriately enough, they get shut down by the Ying early on. Toxic, Lima, Bean, they're going to drive their Twitch turn straight into a mute jammer, so that's gone for the round as well, at least until the mute jammer gets destroyed. They're trying to come up the red stairs, but that's jammed too. So tough luck, Twitch.
Tough luck indeed. They're going to have to find a different route up. But oftentimes, when you're not able to get there with your Twitch drone, you have to actually face peek things. Especially for this mute jammer, if it's even a tiny bit too close, you catch that pixel. That means that one of the players on the side of Nova can shoot it from outside. Then you send your Twitch in. There's a lot of different options, but they just have to find the right one. And that's where you have to have the time management to utility come into a very clear balance. So far, Nova has not established nearly enough control. They have the pick, but what does that pick mean if they don't even get into the map?
I mean, I'd say, Mute has been taken off the board. That's the SMG-11. That's possibly any jammers. I don't know if all were deployed, and that's a C4. So I feel like that's been huge. But like you said, the attack, they can't allow themselves to stagnate now. They need to keep on pushing. The breach is still closed. Garage control hasn't been established. Nothing has been established, really. They're all just there kind of chilling on the balcony, on the roof, and they aren't taking anything. Just a minute
left, and with a minute, they have to get this control. If they don't, there's no options left. Jumping in Toxic could have possibly found their way in, but the Twitch drone is just a little bit too big. H to find the kill onto the Maestro. You can't get too aggressive like that, and especially now that they've sprung the trap, they push right on into construction. The push has clear intentions. H is the thermite, which means they might be able to get that wall open, but there could be a mute charge on it. Not to mention the fact there is, and Momo is covering behind the bomb chassis. It's a really powerful position. Their feet are not nearly as exposed as when you could shoot through those bomb chassis. 27 seconds. Can they make it work?
Well, Momo gets down. That is on paper all up to Chronix, who's too far away to pick him up. The Thermite Breach finally gonna come out, but it's 15 seconds left to play with. Still 2 smokes between the Ying and the Thermite, and the Legion finally gets finished off by Age. The Banshees, though, coming in clutch. So are the Legion Mines. Chronic, there we go, with the knife from behind, but gets shut down by Toxic as the attack takes round number 1 on Clubhouse.
Oh, I don't like that. That was quite an Assassin's Creed mood there from Chronic, and it really goes back to what we mentioned on the first map. The ability to rotate around, be able to play within the holes of their opponent, especially doing that on a defensive end, is a really key ability. So I'm glad that we saw that characteristic early on from Garden City, but now I want to actually highlight something that I didn't get a chance to on the previous map. On the final round, with Garden City attacking the second floor bedroom, we saw the Blackbeard push up, and this is a really memorable spot because he was not able to take out that rook, all from the inability to just secure that kill. But what would have been able to secure that kill even more was if you had 2 people peeking the angle at the exact same time. There was an Ash out on the armory window rappel that could have easily swung out, and as the moment that the rook peered out, the tiny bit of damage would have made the difference in the gunfight and possibly could have led to Garden City being able to take that round. Exact same scenario is applied within this round here, within this defensive half. They need to set themselves up that they have 2 guns pointing at the pressure points that Nova is applying.
10 seconds remaining.
Well, let's see if maybe Garden City can make it work when they redo Cash and CCTV. Again, they held it together for so long. The attackers, they had a minute left. It was a 4v5. Yes, it was a 4v5 for the attacker. So they had the man advantage, but they had no control, no breaches, no nothing, and just a minute left to play with. And everyone in Garden City gave them free picks, meaning the Nova, they could just wreck the body count up one by one in their favor, and they could eventually end up winning the round. H, though, gonna get the breach open much faster this time around, unless he gets denied last second. Nope, it doesn't. Kali comes in clutch big time there. Now John can just chill in the long angle, doesn't even need to give away his position just yet. New massive damage. 12 times zoom, though, I'm not the biggest fan of. It's so clunky to play with, but, well, to each his own, I guess.
Yeah, they have a lot of power here. They don't have to leave this perch just yet, especially if we see that Nova is able to establish a solid plant location. But in the meantime, once again, relatively little pressure being applied by that roster. They have the time to play with, and I like that we're seeing their drones come out. But when you don't drone everything out, especially these common runouts that we've seen from Garden City, you see players like Momo and Shorty getting crazy kills. But nope, Daryu's going to try the exact same angle as last round. That one was being watched once again, and they will fall. That's a double kill for Momo as they get aggressive on the breach. But where is this Kali? They are dead. It was John. I don't know if they pushed up. I wasn't able to see that kill too clearly.
Well, there you go. That's a triple for Momo. Looking in the right direction. Can they make it 4? Yes, they can. They're unstoppable. Momo's not too funny. Momo is too good at the game, apparently. As defenders equalize the round count, the score count out, taking 1 round off of Nova.
Going forward, I want to see Garden City keep up that aggression, but keep it much more timed. When we saw those pushes come out, it was 2 people getting kills. I don't know if they were in the same location. I have to assume that they were. And that's essentially what Garden City needs to keep repeating, keep replicating. Don't use the same angles. Keep it fresh, keep it cool. That's how you survive.
Yeah. So, I do like the fact that the attackers, they were so adaptable. You know, round 1, they had trouble entering the building. The breach stayed closed for way too long. They had no control. And so they were like, what can we do to counter that? we can bring a collie. So they picked the collie, they opened the breach up instantly, but sadly things fell apart for them once that had happened because Momo, well, he's too good. That's all we can say, really. It's going to be a basement defense adapted by Garden City this time, and let's see if they can actually hold it as well as they held onto Cash and CCTV last time around.
Basement setup has shown that Garden City is going for a really big extension. Oh, no, 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 no. Dare you? Dare. Oh, no, no. You're the 2-time scope, my friend.
Attackers are moving
I
out to
have to
locate a
wonder
bomb
why
and
this
defuse
is a really aggressive peak. Dare you? I don't understand what the reasoning is behind this. They'll find the down, not able to find the kill.
I mean,
Boxy, I don't understand why the peak did work. I will acknowledge that. And they are able to get back to site. And what looked like an extension, all 5 players are now back down on the basement side. I don't understand why we saw 3 players all on the 2nd floor during the prep phase.
this is literally the aggression coming out from Dairyu that I've been complaining about. Yes, aggression, it can be calculated, it can be good, it can be well timed, but that's not what Dairyu has been doing. Dairyu, whenever they've had the chance to swing, they've swung, and they've had some massive moments, gotten punished big time, and they ended up costing their teams rounds, even if not the advantage, because of their untimely aggression. So the fact that you're doing it again, yes, like you said, it did end up working. Panther got down, and with how massive, how impactful Panther was in game 1, that's huge. You know, having him play off of 20 HP for the rest around, that's great. But it was the risk, I don't think, outweighed the reward. So dare you, if you're watching this VOD back, please look into when to be aggressive and when to be passive. You could benefit greatly from it. We all see you can win your ones, but at the same time, you shouldn't always be taking them in the first place.
If you give a mouse a cookie, then they'll come looking for more, and I think that's essentially what we've seen at Dare You fall victim to. Panther, I think we have forgotten to talk about them. A wild Panther has been able to escape our grasp and keep escaping all these traps. They will hit that Legion mine, however, but now that they are out of it, we can expect them to be a really relevant gun. Shorty's also got a gun, and they're also making good use of it. Surprisingly enough, denying that 2nd floor is absolutely essential here in this basement site. And when you have such a long kill corridor that is Dirt Tunnel in this case, and Habana possibly going to join her comrades, it could turn into an absolute kill funnel for the defenders.
Okay, but look at Derek re-swinging again, and then again, and yes, they got a kill off of it again, but they've also... Actually, they haven't gotten tagged up at all, but it's still so risky, especially with a 1x scope on the MP5, excuse me. The Yinkan Dallas came out as well.
I'd like to challenge you on that one, because that is a point where you want to be aggressive. They're holding their angle and spraying it down on a position that is so pivotal, because when you have these 3 remaining attackers spring the trap right onto site, there's very little way. Dare You has been picked off, so you don't have that aggression that we've seen on the side of Garden City. Instead, Shorty, you gotta clear that 2nd floor, because now they have the ability to look for the plant. They'll be able to find it. That's a triple kill to Shorty's name. It's all left up to John. They have the LMG in hand. No reason to reload the spray for that final kill in the smoke, but it's the SMG-11 with that quick, rapid fire to find the headshot. It's gonna be Garden City to take the defensive round.
Okay, well, a little bit of a potato there. It didn't end up mattering. It was a 1v3, and the round was literally in its last seconds. But I don't know. It feels like they go aggressive. Whenever they get a kill, they get this surge of energy. You know, surge, finka, haha, funny. That's a chief level joke. They get the surge of energy, and they just swing. They swing everything. And yes, keeping the attackers that are pushing through there at bay, that's a good idea, but do you need to do it with gunfire necessarily? No, you can do it with utility. You can throw C4s, impact, smoke canisters, Legion mines. There's so much stuff you can throw at them to deny them. And even if you do end up swinging them, once you get a kill, you got to get more passive, not swing out looking for more. And if you somehow, some way end up re-swinging anyways, at least swing from a slightly different angle. Don't be as predictable as you are, because Daryu's biggest disadvantage, biggest flaw throughout this game has been that they've been predictable, and that's why they've been shut down so consistently. But on one side, we have Blackbeard coming out into play, which I'm not a fan of, even if it is Wild Panther playing them. On the other side, more excitingly, we have the Thunderbird on Shorty. Shorty very quiet on Oregon, but they're currently 5-1-1, and I want to see what they can do with the pick.
I think Shorty has a lot of power here, but in that regard, Garden City hasn't been lit up too much. And especially with where these Kona stations are being positioned, it looks like they could easily, the moment that they lose a little bit of site coverage, favor the attackers. Toxic to get lit up by Dare You. But Dare You, these highlight plays backfire in your face so commonly. You have to know when to go for that aggression. Otherwise, it could backfire, sending your team into a 4v5 at this point. And I understand the rook point, rook pick that you get it placed on your utility and contribute to all your team members. Not what you're looking for. Nate being cooked out. Shorty got a gun, going for the same possibly needless aggressiveness, but it's not being checked. The drone will be called out, and they won't even know Shorty got a gun. I gotta give them credit for the timed aggression, but you gotta fall off. You can't keep looking for those picks because it will catch up to you.
Well, I mean, at least the main count has been even out. Toxic Lima being shut down by the run out from Thunderbird. And I was saying that. I was saying I want to see how Shorty can do on the Thunderbird. They've got their aggressive pick. Now they can fall back safely. And they can just play on later in the round. They can still, heal up. They can use the C4. But now they go for another run out instead. And the C4 tossed prematurely doesn't quite connect onto anything. Looking at H, though, the breach has been opened and the bathroom is being demolished as we speak. Panther on a more passive angle than we used to, but they are playing Blackbeard this time around, so I guess that makes sense at least to some extent.
Drone sitting in the middle of the site will feed all the information that VG needs.
Oh no.
Looking for the Maestro to find it, but hey, that mattress is bulletproof, so Maestro moving out of way of that line of sight is going to result in them taking a good solid bit of damage. But don't worry, there's a Thunderbird on the board, so those Kona stations should be able to heal them right back up. You gotta be aware, where's the communication on the side of Garden City, as 2 kills will erupt, bring this back down to a 2v4 now from the previously picked off Dare You, just waiting. But why isn't Dare You on a cam? If there's cams, you guys have to be watching them, especially with the Maestro. Wild Panther's shield could possibly save his knife, as Shorty got a gun. We'll be able to find their third in the round. Refrag quickly by John, leaving it all left up to Momo. 2v1. They have 4 goo traps in their pocket, but they are not going to be too useful now. Waiting. They have the sound from the Maestro cam, able to find the down onto the Finca. Meanwhile, H has rotated right on back. Finca boost will dissipate. And with 30 seconds to go, all they have to do is play this one safe. Momo to be healed by those Kona stations. Almost up to full health, but he's already over 100 thanks to that cool little health trick. Jumping out, looking for the pick, and he'll use it to great effect. Momo with the double kill. A buddy ace with Shorty got a gun. And just like that, Garden City take the lead, or further advance their lead 3-1.
What? What was that parkour? I've actually not seen that before. That feels like something that should be common knowledge, and maybe it is, and I'm just spacing out. But
no, it's so rare at this point.
He jumped on the bed and then just glided out the window. There was no vault. His gun wasn't out of his hands. He could instantly shoot. That was so good. What a round. Even Shorty, though, yes, they did end up dying, but they got 3 picks to keep their team afloat until Momo could close this one out. Shorty,
that
Momo.
Is an illegal trick. Jumping on any windowsill, as if you were to see on Cafe. That's what came to mind. Running, and you can actually run off the dining table on Cafe to get onto that ledge. So based on that, because it does give an illegal head peek, so that will most likely, we're waiting on admin call, but we have no discretion. So I don't know how much we can discuss on it, but in previous leagues, you have seen that any sort of illegal peak can result in a very big change, because it is arguable that you would not have been able to see that lesion, be able to get that pick for a moment if they did not use it.
Well, first of all, I guess it's not really up to us, right? It's up to our admins to decide upon this. But even if Garden City, they end up forfeiting round number 4, and if it ends up being a 2-2, Nova, they haven't won a round in 3 rounds. They got 2v5 last round. 3 kills came out from Shoddy. One came out from, if I'm not mistaken, Momo. Yeah, Momo finished it up. So even if Garden City forfeited the round and Nova, equalized the scoreline out on a technicality, Garden City, they're looking so much stronger. Nova, they're just trailing behind and they're nowhere to be seen on Clubhouse so far.
Moving forward on to CC, you're right. Nova has had a really small presence. We can credit that to how much of a peak they are going for the different types of pushes. But last round they had a really solid foundation, but they're allowing their lack of a roam clear to really affect their overarching ability to clear a site. Because they get control, but they don't have that flank watch. And I think it was even last match on Oregon where we saw a pin through push through freezer that was completely shut down by Garden City because of the lack of a flank watch.
Yep. Well, I'm sorry. I was just discussing something with the admins, but yep, you were right. And we see Derry being overly aggressive there once again, or well, about to be rather, because you can just tell they're going to go for a swing outside on the window. Luckily for them, no one's there though. Kali coming in clutch once again. The breach opened up in the first 40 seconds. Chronix on Bandit with the entry, and Age is going to fall soon thereafter. They can still be resuscitated and picked up. It's going to be a tough job getting that done. John watching the breach now as his teammates try and revive their fallen comrade, but defense is just running rapid. Five people still alive. Okay, we'll make that for as Momo gets aggressive, swings the Kali, loses his life. Still, H picked up, low on HP.
That's a point that I want to make. The fact that Kali was not spraying through that wall, it's a really high caliber gun, and when you keep shooting, you create multiple lines of sight. And sure, if you're playing close in the wall, it's not going to favor you, but the fact that those holes have not been made by the defenders is already a weird pick on its own. You normally see a few kill holes, a few C4 holes made on that CC cash wall, so the fact that hasn't been made, it now falls onto the hands of its John to really spray through, create the line of sight, use that 12 times scope to really make things work. Nade being tossed up, they'll be able to find ahead of Toxic Llama. That's their second on the round. Beautifully picked off. Shorty got a gun. We've seen them come up absolutely huge this far. And those Kona stations possibly being shot out, trying to stop them from being used by the counteracting team. And dare you, really passive this round. And I'm a huge fan.
Yeah, exactly. Maybe this round they learn what they can do when they stay passive for longer. Their first gunfight about to come out. There we go. That's the Kali falling off. She pushed up to garage instead of watching the long angles. She got punished for it. Pre-placed C4, it does come out. Sadly, doesn't do any damage as it is popped prematurely, but a few drones destroyed down below. There you now going for the swing, looking at the right direction. Yana falls as well. And Shorty finds one of his own, all up to the Thermite, previously down, but they find one. It's a 1v1 as their default comes, and it's up to Shorty to clutch this one out. It's a ring around the Rosie, and Shorty finally finishes the round with the spear in hand as they got 3 kills on the round once again, if I'm not mistaken.
So we are going to have an admin ruling on the previous round. It does look like that will be a pause, as well as with that review, it looks in constitution with the rulebook of NJCAA that is an illegal peak. You cannot jump out on and stand on a window ledge. That is not an intentional game mechanic. So the exact same way you would see if you were to do any sort of head glitch or vaulting glitch, that is not allowed in competitive play, unfortunately. So that means that we are actually not going to see a 4-1 split for Garden City. It's actually going to go the way of Nova with that previous round. So it looks like it will be a 4, or sorry, we're not even at the split yet. Sorry, it's going to be a 3-2 game currently.
Yep. That's fine. That's fine. Just breathe, relax. You are completely right, and we have all the time in the world as we're waiting for the rehouse to be made. We're waiting for the admins to actually finalize their decision. But I guess that explains why I wasn't sure about, or why I was like, I haven't seen this before. Why haven't I seen this before? It's because it's illegal and no one does it. That makes, well, a lot of sense. Our beautiful observer Max just explaining to the teams on what's happening, and well, you get to look at our beautiful faces once again. How are you doing, Binks? We've been here for a while, and we will be on for quite a little bit longer. So how are you feeling?
I'm feeling quite pixelated. I don't know what's going
Yeah,
on. Let's try this.
I thought that was an artistic choice. I feel like it's too. Oh, okay, there we
I
go.
don't know
We're
why
back.
that happened. Oh wow.
Oh, it is what it is. Um, yeah, yes, GCCC, they need to forfeit the one round that they've won off of Momo's clutch, but it was a huge clutch. It gave them a lot of momentum, a lot of confidence, and the fact that even Dare You to Get It to Come From Me, I think is their full name, even they were passive. They ended up finding a very impactful kill late round, and yes, it was just one kill, but they still played it much better than their previous aggressive round, so I love seeing that. And Nova, yes, they will be gifted around, but at the same time, I think they're just trailing too far behind Garden City to really make a dent, at least on their attacks.
What I'm interested to see going forward on the side of Nova is that this is their map pick. On this defensive end, they need to prove to us why that is so. Because so far, Garden City has proven time and time again that they are comfortable, even on sites like CC, where once that wall is open, it is extremely difficult for the defenders to rotate around, but they're still managing to do so. They're being left on the roam. They're having complete freedom to hold in key positions and rotate late round into key positions. Where's the flank watch drone inside a garage? There's no way dare you should ever be able to make their way through garage.
We've really seen a lack of flank drones and flank operators alike come out from both teams, to be fair. We've seen Nomad,
Yes.
what, 2 rounds maybe in game one? I don't think we've seen her here at all. And yes, you can not bring Nomad on Clubhouse, no one will hold it against you. But there are times, especially if the defense is playing flank heavy, where even on Clubhouse, you can definitely still bring the Nomad. And I feel like the time for that is now, because honestly, Garden City, they're just sprinting around above and even below the attackers and just going for the flanks at the worst times possible if you're a Nova fan.
Um.
Um.
Uh.
Uh.
uh Man, I sound like Coco. Speaking of Coco, I actually have a question for you, Boxy.
Yeah.
So we saw. I want to exclude the window peak from the bedroom round. So let's knock that completely out of our minds.
Yeah.
I am willing to introduce the thought process that with the way that Nova pushed that, they set themselves up to be able to hold with two different cross angles. And I don't know if they actually were able to get Jacuzzi while open, but it seems
They
like this
did.
idea from Nova to completely flood a site has almost worked in two scenarios. That was the first flood, and the second flood was also on that basement site looking towards that kitchen hatch. So on the side of Garden City, they've done a great job stopping this flood. But what happens when Nova decides to flood from two different areas that are completely vulnerable from Garden City?
Well, I mean, on one hand, Garden City, they seem to really like just kind of play for contact. As soon as they have some contact, they just rotate as much utility and manpower as possible. But on the other hand, I want to see if Nova's split floods would even work, just because when it's different if you push 5 men, if you have 5 people just push flood the same side, as opposed to having 2 people go somewhere and 3 will go somewhere. The 2 and 3 people, respectively, they need to be much more coordinated. They need to use their utility in tandem. They need to drone for each other much more than when you have 5 people just pushing in, where one person.
Ooh, 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 ooh,
Like
ooh, ooh,
detected,
ooh,
yeah,
ooh,
yeah,
lag
yeah,
detected,
yeah,
and you're
yeah,
back. Continue,
yeah.
continue.
What's the last thing you heard me
Uh, 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 uh,
say? Okay, before that.
um, I think you're talking about the different players.
Well, again, I just want to reiterate that, like, because you were asking me about the split push coming out for Nova, if they flood split. I feel like, yes, GCC, they play contact, they rotate around a lot, right? They, whenever they see, oh, like someone's there, they're breaching this, they're shooting there, they just rotate as much manpower as possible, as much utility as well. But at the same time, Nova, I'm not sure if they could actually pull off a flood from 2 different directions, because that means you need to be way more structured. You need to drone for each other. You need to have refrags established. You need to use your utility uh, way more in tandem. So that's a hard thing to pull off, especially for a D4 team. I'm not sure. I'm going to be honest if Nova have it in them. What do you think?
I think Nova has the capability to really pick this one up if they do manage to find the holes that Garden City is leaving for them, as well as not funnel into one particular area and really have have a clear intention of splitting the site rather than playing for picks, then this could very easily be their pick.
Okay, well, we are back in the game. The round has been forfeited in favor of Nova. And again, this is their map pick. Nova, they won GCCC's map pick of Oregon. And now Nova, they're on the back foot on their own choice of map. They are on attack, and, Maverick, Thatcher, they've both been banned. But on the flip side, so has Kate, so has Valkyrie. So, we'll see what's happening. Oh, we got the wrong bands down though, so that
I will
could
take
be
blame
a
for that.
problem.
That's on me. I had the
That's on you.
wrong
Fake
operator
news.
put in from the previous map. Well, we'll see if these teams are okay with it, but regardless.
Binks moment.
Oh no, we don't. I don't want to make this a Binks moment.
Binks
Please
moment.
don't make this. No, you weren't lied to.
You absolutely were
It
lied
was an
to.
unintentional lie. I didn't realize I was lying.
No, let me read this out. Max said 2:54 a.m. Max D, Bansworth, Thatcher, Mav, Cade, Valk. Right? Question mark. And then Binks, same minute, goes yes. You're definitely a liar. Hands on fire and all. The whole shebang.
Well, we chilling. Unless they want the rehost. Players, please forgive me.
Please no. Well, Garden City doesn't want to rehost. Let's see if Nova do, maybe.
5 seconds left.
We good? It's John from
Attackers must locate and defuse a bomb.
Nova, so that's good. Okay, we got confirms from both teams, and as the drums ring out, it looks like we are going to be continuing this game 3-2. Garden City lose one of their rounds, but they still have the ability to get that 4-2 split that we previously mentioned prior to that rehost. But interestingly enough, no spawn peaks, no over aggression, so it could be Garden City understanding that they lost that round, and this one is one that they're gonna have to hold a lot closer to the objective.
Yeah, we'll definitely see what ends up happening. Chronic has been very silent this game. Obviously, their stats, they have been lost because we needed to rehost, which is, well, it's a damn shame because Chronic and Panther, they were both pushing 20 kills and fell just short. Last game would be great to see them maybe achieve it on Clubhouse. But again, we had to rehost. Stats are lost. Everyone starts fresh at a 0. Regardless, though, back to my point. Chronic, they've been very silent so far, and maybe can pull off a massive flank here on this defense specifically. They've been fully uncontested, and I don't even think droned out up in server, up in cache, up in CCTV, whatever you want to call it. And so the fact that, well, they could go for a flank at any time while the attackers are already focusing on taking blue, that could be devastating. If only Chronix pulls it off at the right time.
That guy opening and doing a little bit of remodeling, and within that, a really good combination. Dare you? That's the type of aggression we want to see, my friend. There goes the Wild Panther, someone who came up absolutely huge before the rehost, swinging around trying to find a second one. Dare you will find it. Meanwhile, on the opposite side of this map, we see Toxic find Llama. Meanwhile, Momo on a triple kill now. Oh my goodness, where does this come from? I didn't think it was Momo Too Funny that was getting those kills.
That's
I don't
4.
think that's a triple kill, but there's 4. I think that's a glitch. Momo only has 1 kill. It's Dare You that has 3.
It could have been a glitch, or it could have been the thing where different people down and kill someone. Regardless, the second for Toxic Limit being make that 3, and someone else is pushing the same angle. Can Sledge capitalize off of that? 35 seconds left. They have no case on their body. Defenders just playing this passively. One close to the AKs on the side, the other one in blue. And Sledge, he needs to isolate those gunfights. He needs to push out and actually win those ones as well. But they're just being passive down bottom of the stairs. Oh no, they're there though. They disconnect. It's a 1v1. Chronix is all alone in blue. Sledge is pushing the right direction, but again, Case is not there. Just 8 seconds left. He hears the vigil. He needs to push him out. Looks the wrong way. And just barely the defense wins the round. As we may have to rehost again.
Oh, I really hope we don't. This has been one pause after. Thank you, dare you. Thank you. Thank you very much for returning to us. We won't have to pause.
Super funny, by the way. This is, we spoke about this in the green room. This is one of the longest matches so far that we've casted. We've been live for 2 hours, and we've gotten 1 overtime, 86, and now 6 other rounds.
One and a half game.
Today is the day. Today's the first day of the season. We're actually doing 2 best of 3s, one after another, so we could be here for quite a while. I actually may not get any sleep before I go to uni if we keep going this way.
Well, you know what? That's why we insert energy sponsor here and go and have a crazy, crazy day.
When are we getting an energy sponsor, Max? Or Kyler, I guess that's a question for you.
Yeah, I love an energy sponsor. That would help me keep me up throughout these games, especially for our European talent like Boxy. I think you said it was like, what, 2-3 a.m. at this point?
Yeah, it is. It is 3:03 a.m. So, well, I guess I'm
You're
gonna be very.
You're having a splendid, dear old time.
That's right.
Within that, I think it is quite worth mentioning that Garden City were able to confirm that 4-2 split by winning off their defensive half. So now that they're on the attack, we can assume that the defense is the favored side between these two teams, and it is now just a matter of if Nova on the defensive end are going to show that same advantage, if not more. If they do have that 5-1 split, only giving up one of their defensive rounds, that could mean that we don't even see overtime.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. The one thing that, again, I want to talk about very briefly is the fact that Garage defenders are just not paying attention to it. You know, Nova, when they were attacking, they weren't really paying attention to Garage. And now that they're defending, same bump side, they're not really holding Garage either. The only thing that's in Garage that I've seen is 1 bench and 2 barbs. I'm not even sure if anyone is playing it at the moment. Okay, we have the Aruni with the EMR. Thank you, Max. So at least there's that. But again, the lack of plays in Garage and around Garage from both teams has been concerning, to say the least.
Yeah, sprays coming up from Toxic with that DMR will be able to find that kill, but they've overextended looking for the frag. Dare you to come from you to find 2 huge kills on this attacking side. The great thing about being on attack is that the aggression is the name of the game in some scenarios, especially when you're going for these peaks. You know where the defenders are, and they're going to be able to work with that Momo to be the first one to take a tiny bit of damage through shots in the wall, I believe. So either that or Panther was not able to find a single pick. Garden City in a phenomenal position, but Wild Panther does have something to say about that. They'll find the first kill to their name in this matchup, as well as H doing the exact same. John next on the list to hopefully find a frag, but Shorty's rotated all the way around to construction. They're waiting. Oh, that's why melees are so unreliable in Rainbow Six.
Yeah, at least the new animation looks sick, so there is that. But Shorty, they find 1 kill, Wild Panther, off the board for the time being. 1 minute left in a 2v2. 1 grenade on the attacking side, 1 impact on the defensive, and that's pretty much all they have going on for them. John goes for the swing, Chronix is shut down, and Finka, she's gonna swing as well. H is ready for her though, and that's a round for defense.
I think these teams have a lot of comfort in being able to say, hey, we can sit here and wait for them to come to us. Of course, that's more on Nova's end. Not to mention the fact I was a big fan of those operator selections. We didn't see any crazy rook picks. We didn't see any berserk runouts. It was really conserved on the side of Nova. And when push came to shove, we saw that each of those 3 players collected on their kills, H finding 2 on that round. And they did their job. They found their ones. almost each and every single one of them. And that's exactly it. If everyone wins their ones, then you're going to win the round.
Well,
Diffuser permitting.
that's how FPS games work. Yeah, if you shoot the bad guys, you win.
Attackers need to locate and defuse
Who would have
as many
thought?
bombs as they can.
Yeah, it's really that simple at the end of the day. But 43 Nova, they've been gifted one round in a rehouse, and then they've gotten one of their own. That, at least to me, indicates that they have reset their momentum. They're like, guys, we're falling behind. We've been given a round for a quote-unquote illegal swing, illegal glitch, whatever. Let's capitalize off of that as much as we possibly can, and that's exactly what they've done. If they can win another round, that means that we're going into round 9 completely on an even footing. It's going to be 4-4. If Garden City win this, though, I don't see Nova coming
5
back.
seconds left before insertion.
We have a valiant point there, and as well as a valiant effort so far from both these teams. It takes a lot to get things to a 4-3 split. But it's like you said, if they do even it out, Nova have a lot of effort and momentum to work with. So as we approach this final round, oh, this static is just beautiful in my ear. Thank you very much, Rainbow Six. Gotta thank you every single time I hear it. But I have to be completely honest with you, Boxy. Nova's still setting up with 2 minutes and 30 seconds to go. They just finally placed down their final reinforcement. That's not where you want to be, and nowhere near the position you should be in on the defensive end.
Yep, I absolutely agree with you, but look at that. That guy also shut down by Wild Panther playing the K1A with the ugly reflex. I've seen quite a few people prefer it, so I guess I can't judge too hard. The breach into dirt will finally be opened and then extended by a second Selma. Ash, there are you already ready to push in? We've seen there you just push in every single time they can, but
Oh my
Shorty jumps
goodness.
into kitchen before checking for the verticals. That means that Moondoggy, they finally get their time in the spotlight as they get a nice kill onto the ace, and that's the hard breach besides the Habana gone for the round. Habana, though, also already taking quite a bit of damage, so they need to be very careful, especially with 18x Gyro still being in their pockets.
These sprays to the wall trying to find this Capcan trap could spell it an absolute demise. And it's also a question of if they've actually been able to spot out and find this Malusi Banshee. If not, this could be absolutely a kill funnel for Nova, more specifically the defender of It's John, who's been the primary person watching and waiting for any sort of push to come in through dirt. The 3 remaining attackers of Momo, Chronic, and Dare You are just tempting fate. Slowly, one by one, they fall off with only 1 remaining. I believe that is the Twitch of Chronic. That is based off of the stance of the operator. So yes, it is Chronic who was the last to leave. And Habana now opting to go for the hatch. But look at this, the aggressive swing from Moondoggy will light up both Dare You and Chronic. But a really nice shot from Chronic is going to allow for both of them to stay alive and keep their ability to have any impact on this round.
Well, we've now cleared out top floor finally, but at what cost? We've lost so much precious time and even more precious HP. Momo now looking to push through dirt. We have Twitch on the hatch and Ash pushing down Mace there. She gets taken out though, so it ended up mattering. Chronics, they spot out one, they tag them with the Twitch run, but that's all they can do. No, they shut down. The Cap can make that 2 and 3 for Chronics as they drop down, get the plan down. It's a 2v2 now, and yes, they're on 1 HP, but Toxic, they impact themselves. If that impact landed, both attackers could have been killed by it, but no. Momo finds one of his own. Can they actually bring this one back? Brings it all up to Toxic Lima being there low on HP. Whoever hits their shots first will have the round. 30 seconds left. And Momo, he closes the round out for a
What
steal.
are you doing, Nova?
Why are you sprinting, Bio?
Why are you sprinting? But no! Oh my goodness! You have it in your hands. John! You need to look up. You have to understand you're getting shocked by a Twitch drone. Looking at dirt is not the position you need to be looking for. You need to put yourself into a position where you're looking. Where are they going to be coming? Because coming from that drop, you're giving them the advantage. You're giving them the rifle advantage. Oh, from that, you give them control of the key position inside Armory. You're giving them life, the ability to plant the diffuser. They had seconds remaining on the clock. Not to mention the impact nade
Defenders
that was
protect
thrown
your bomb
not at
from
the opponents, that
by
would have killed
attackers.
them, but at the own defender. You
The
need to slow down and think in a third person perspective. What is your opponent going to be doing? What routes do they have? They have the hatch. They also have tunnel.
Attackers have
It
located
doesn't
a
look that
bomb.
they got rid of that Malusi, so I know that I'm going to have an extra second when they try to swing out. Let me position myself to look at this hatch. Oh, there's only 2 of them. Then you know where you have to look. Most importantly, establish a cross angle. That allows you to
10
sit
seconds to
so
go.
much more comfortably. You could have pushed someone else into armor.
5
You could have
seconds
had a
remaining.
hole made in the wall with those impacts that were already in your pockets.
Attackers are heading out to
I
defuse
mean,
the
the
bomb.
biggest thing last round absolutely was just the twitch of Chronics dropping down and decimating the defense. First the Capcan under the hedge, and then the other player in the Moto doorway. They just stood no chance. And Twitch, keep in mind, she was 1 HP. You sneeze at her, you look at her the wrong way, and she dies, but she managed to get 3 kills out of that. So that's absolutely huge. And like I said, Garden City, they won last round. They won in such a comebacky, flashy fashion that I honestly don't think that Nova can win this one out. And we will be going to Coastline if that happens, because Garden City, they have this one in the bag. Nova, I give them max one more round. I think at best for Nova, we finish at 7-4 at the end.
They have the ability. Moondoggy has not been droned out. So if they do opt to go for this kitchen push, they see the hole up above. They've cleared out logistics. Pushing upstairs could have been the biggest mistake that Moondoggy has made, because they're closing off any rotate out that they previously had. Moondoggy, that position is compromised. The hatch has been broken. They'll swing up and be able to find it, but what are you looking at? You have to be aware.
Well, yes, we're not looking at the right angles, because, well, Ace is that, and they won't be able to contribute anything else in the last 90 seconds of the round. Malusi, she goes for the swing, misses, and, well, dare you dare her to come for them. They shut her down. Toxic Leah being with 1 onto Momo, though, so Garden City's disadvantage is still a thing. Nova somehow get the swing onto things, but H in a very peculiar position there, being held from the hedge by the Blackbeard, who's actually getting way too passive. He could just hold the Jaeger there and they couldn't go anywhere. Just let them go away for free. I don't get that.
I like that Panthers taking this slow. It allows them to swing out and get a really nice kill onto Chronic. That makes it a 2v4. But don't let yourself be deceived. Nova has lost these advantages. There's also a Maestro cam that has not been spotted out. That's a lot of audio, John. You have to be able to swing, not John, sorry. That guy. You have to be able to hear that Maestro cam and just melee it. You can shatter that glass, rendering it almost completely useless. I don't know why that has not happened yet. Maybe it's in a really hidden position, but that guy's position is just constantly being given away. Dare you pushing up from the tunnel, but this time the information is there and there's relatively little the Blackbeard can do, and 2 consecutive kills, one after the other. We already saw the first perspective. Now looking at the second one, really nice peek from the Mute to find the ash inside of dirt, and Nova appears to be clawing back.
I mean, the one thing that we apparently need to explain to Garden City once again is flank watch, because we haven't seen that at all. In Nova, they got punished by flanks constantly, and now the same thing is happening on the other side of the coin. As Garden City, they just get their backs shot at so often. They lose so many players just off of those flanks. It's not even funny at this point, man. It's killing me. Okay, 5-4 is the current score line. I was bold in my predictions. I said Garden City win this at best 7-4. Meaning that, well, they need to win the next 2 rounds, otherwise I'll look like a fool once again.
I think that's it is a safe bet, considering that they have 2 sites they are comfortable with. But when I say comfortable, they're comfortable attacking. We've seen that they are very comfortable attacking the CC site, but it doesn't change the fact that this is a site that Nova was actually able to defend successfully. We saw a big kill from John, H collecting 2, as well as it was, I want to say, Toxic all the way back to find their first kill, or one of their first kills after the rehost, that is.
Mhm.
So I'm not too sure exactly how
Attackers'
this will play
objective is
out,
to locate a
but
bomb
all I
and
know is that
defuse it.
Nova plays their angles quite safe on this site particularly, and that is a really good thing for them. It allows them to play back, allows them to make Garden make the initiating move, and oftentimes Garden has overextended, making it so their aggression is what is their fault.
Well, I could have said it better myself. Still a 5v5 in the round so far. Attackers slowly getting to the building, getting ready to maybe even breach early on. Twitch manages to recover her drone, which is, well, pretty massive, but it looks like you're just going to lose it on the same drone hole.
A bomb has
Trying
been
to get the
located.
mute jammer. Excuse me,
Yeah,
I still
I
coughed
was
over
I was
there.
quite concerned that we were gonna. Oh my goodness. I think the Twitch drone went into an unrecoverable part of the map. That's quite unfortunate. They will possibly lose out that Twitch drone. As they throw out a second one, we'll see what is happens with this one. Based on the fact that it was only thrown out, I'm going to assume that it wasn't in a bad spot and they were able to use it. Regardless, I digress, focusing back on the grander scope of the round. We see all 5 defenders still alive. They're in really comfortable positions. There's been no pressure on the side of Garage. Moondoggy also able to hold strong on the side of Construction. And that comes from the lack of pressure that Garden City has put. Moondoggy has the amplified scope and a really powerful DMR, where I think still the only DMR on defense, if I am correct, which gives them full capability to just hold an angle, lock it down, and give Garden City relatively little they can do to attack it.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure on paper it is the only DMR. But then you have guns like the TCSG, which, yes, it is technically a slug shotgun, but it, hits like a DMR. You also have the Alibi Maestro one, so there is that. But technically, you're correct, and that's the best kind of correct. Back to the round, though. Chronix gets one, and the second one goes to, I believe it was Darius. So now Garden City, once again, they have the upper hand. They just need to not throw it all away. A bunch of utility coming out. The plant probably following soon after. H finishes off Ash, though, as the plant starts commencing.
H also looking to find a second kill onto that
Attackers
Twitch, but
activate
Chronic will
the
escape with
diffuser.
50% of their health remaining, spraying through the smoke. They have a general location of it's John. They'll find the
Bomb
headshot,
located by
looking for
attackers.
possibly a second on the round, or a third. I'm not even sure at this point. It's all left up to H, but Shorty's got a gun, has gone on the flank. They'll be able to find 2 unsuspecting defenders, even finishing off a down before they look up at the unsuspecting Wamai. And there's that first round that you talked about for Garden City, as they are now looking for that second consecutive. And did I mention it's match point?
It is match point. I almost said it's also series point, but no, I'm wrong because Nova, they were the ones that won Oregon. So, well, the decider is looking more and more likely here, things. And I'm excited again. We haven't seen Coastline in a while, and we aren't going to see it in a while because it's been yeeted out of the comp map pool, and that hurts my pretty little heart. I really will miss the map, so, well, let's cast it as often as we can.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun to see teams have the ability to frag out, and of course we've been really critical of
Attackers need to locate
dare
and
you
defuse
to
as many bombs as they
peek,
can.
or sorry, dare you to come for me. We've been critical of their aggression, but on a map like Coastline, that's where you could see them have the freedom to rotate around. And as critical as we've been, they've been a lot more tamed. It's not the reckless aggression that we saw on the early rounds of this game. And it's not that reckless aggression that we saw on Oregon either. It's a lot more cold and calculated. And that's something that we are really looking to see. It's that improvement through the game of understanding that your opponents are expecting that aggression. That type of aggression
10
may
seconds
work
left
on
before
someone
insertion.
else who just doesn't catch on to the way you're playing or the angles you're using.
5 seconds left.
But Darius, calm down. They're playing their angles a lot safer, and not to mention the fact on the attacking side, they're
Attackers are
getting
moving out to
droned in
locate a
from their
bomb and defuse
teammates.
it.
That gives them full freedom to know exactly where to look rather than have to look, peek, and recon for themselves when they're perhaps roaming as a lonesome defender.
Yep, I do want to see if Capcan can come in clutch in this round. Some last second traps being deployed there, so there's that. But well, since the Capcan rework, which has been alive for what, 2 seasons
Attackers
now,
have
if I'm not
located a
mistaken,
bomb.
you can A stack multiple on doors, and well, that means that you can also get a kill off of just one doorway. Defenders, or rather the attackers, excuse me, aren't careful, they can get punished
The
for it
attackers
extra
bomb
hard
diffuser
now. He
has
also
been
got more
dropped.
traps So there's that. Not the hugest fan of Kepkin. I rant about him often, but in this specific instance, especially with how aggressive players like Daru and Chronix can
Attackers
get,
recovered the
even
bomb
Shorty as
diffuser.
well, I do feel like Kepkin may not be the worst pick in the world.
What is this? It looks like it's a push up through garage. They've reinforced it off, but they aren't actively watching it. This could be an absolute blunder as the Habanas now to collect onto the wall. Chronix rotating back on the flank watch while Dare You is taking the forefront. Habana pellets on the wall have been detonated, and this push seems
Attackers have
well
dropped the
underway.
bomb
They have the
diffuser.
ability to swing up. Wild Panther does have something to say about there's no cross angle being watched. That means the Habana will be the first to fall on the side of Garden City, and what could be their final push on Clubhouse already hits a fork in the road.
Well, we'll see what ends up happening. Doesn't look good for their final push, though, as Finka also gets down. And, well, she can resuscitate herself now, but it's John is so very close. If they just go for the swing, it could all be over for her. She picks herself up, but she needs to play this carefully and still until she can adrenal surge herself once again. But she has no charges left, which means she's stuck with as much HP as she has for the entire round.
Attackers have
Toxic
recovered
Lima
the
being there
diffuser.
will get shut down by Chronix, absolutely relentless on the
A
F2.
bomb has been
55
located.
seconds left in what could possibly be the last round as the plant starts being stuck by Ash of all players before she pulls off.
Attackers
Dodges the
dropped the
C4,
diffuser.
gets one kill, but shut down from, I believe it was the person in Cash. H down though, and well, it's not looking great for the defenders.
It definitely is not, but John is able to capitalize on a kill onto Shorty. That's the thing that we previously mentioned. It was also the Ash of Daru who had Case in their hands. That's Case down on the bomb chassis,
Attackers
which means there
recovered
could
the
be a possible
diffuser.
overextension. Chronix will finally retrieve it. That guy to find a big kill with that DMR onto John. H still has not been revived. They've opted just to leave
Attackers are activating the
their
bomb diffuser.
common player, but out the window, not watching the angle. The Blackbeard to finding Collector. Was it possibly the Twitch? No, it was not. It was just Twitch that got the plant. Regardless, we are going to be seeing a map 3 as Garden City takes the second one quite convincingly 7-4.
Well, I mean, there we go. Finally, we got to map 3, or rather, we will be going there. And the best part of it all is that we didn't go to overtime. It was still a close match, but it wasn't a very close match, and that means that we'll be able to sleep before 5 a.m. So I'm happy about that one. But at the same time, do you have any key takeaways from this specific match? Oregon, very Nova-sided. Clubhouse, the complete opposite. And keep in mind, those were their opponents' map picks as well.
Yeah, they both won their opponent's map pick, one of them a lot more convincingly than the other. Garden City did a great job of being able to time their aggression. We saw them have a little bit of trouble with it early on, but they quickly realized that if they tone it back and choose exactly when they will peek out the cross angles, because that is what was set up on that final round. The cross angle is the idea of just covering that twitch while they go for the plant. So it worked really, really well. But on that note, we're going to be hitting you guys with a quick 5-minute break, and then we'll be jumping right back in with our third and final map within this series. Final play day of regulation or regular season. So don't go anywhere. 5 minutes. We'll be back with Coastline. Good morning, Albania. That's right. I think I got the right country.
No, you absolutely didn't get the right country. It's Slovenia.
Slovenia. You know what? You said it really rushed. Let's try. I tried again, but I'm not going to break anyone else's ears. In other words, good evening to North America, because it is still night over here, but 3 in the morning for our good friend Boxy.
Well,
You
we're
told me the
slowly
wrong
pushing
country.
4. Yeah. Well,
Slowly pushing 4, but we're back and we get Coastline. This is a really tropical and sunny map for us to go
that's
and have fun
true.
on.
I actually spent the entire weekend at a work training thing at like the Croatian coast. So it kind of looked like coastline. I'm not gonna lie to you. Um, and like you said, we get to cast coastline. We don't get to see. We don't get to see a full 5v5 because Garden City, they've lost a player between the matches. The sub isn't able to be here, and they've decided to play this one out 4v5 because they got nothing to lose here. And so, yep, there we go. Look at that. They lost one of their most impactful players, if I'm not mistaken. That being He just walked in.
Oh my.
Re-hosting again. Da-da-da-da-da-da. We need help. I'm gonna cry if we keep.
That brings a really interesting scenario. It now is on the hands of Nova, where they get to choose. Where
Hmm.
Garden City already locked in their roster, it creates a really weird loophole within the rulebook of they've already locked in their roster for this final map. So it's Nova's call if they're going to allow this fifth player, or because
Mm.
Garden City submitted the roster with the four. And that can be argued that Garden City submitted a roster with the four, meaning this addition of this fifth would be the equivalent to subbing out this non-existent player.
I mean, I don't know if the rules are that specific. Roster locks, they could. Okay, we're going to camps. The thing that I was gonna say is I'm not sure if our rules are that deep. It could just be that the rosters are locked whenever the season starts, and whoever you have listed on as the five plus the subs plus the coach, they can always play. They can always switch between the maps. Um, and given the fact that it wasn't a player dropping and someone else coming out, I think potentially we could have another player join in if Nova allows it. And if Nova doesn't allow it, then well, I'm not sure. Maybe what GCCC could do is they could call a technical timeout slash a rehost that they have the right to, as far as I know, and then have their fifth join off of that after round
And
one.
it all
Say,
depends on who was listed. It's a really weird and tricky scenario. It does look like we should be getting a really quick rehost. Can we get like a rehost counter? One.
where well, the
We're
night
up
is
there.
still young.
I
Yeah.
already counted as high as I could. I don't see any other indicators. I don't know what comes after one. Maybe 1, 3, 6, 5. No, that's just the time. Never mind.
Uh, well, 1365. That does sound like you counting an Oregon, but Clubhouse, or excuse me, Clubhouse. We've already seen it. It's gonna be Coastline instead. Yeah, keep face palming. Yep, do it again. Do it again. Hit yourself harder. Do it.
I didn't hit myself.
You are like, yeah,
It was
you
like
did it.
this.
No.
Yeah, thank you to
Okay.
Nova. I think we just needed to extend a thank you to Nova for being really cool about this. Unfortunate circumstances are absolutely brutal, especially this late at night. It's 9:38. We don't know if these guys are even on Eastern time. But regardless, thank you for being cool. Thank you for being chill, as the hip kids would say.
No, they wouldn't.
No, they would not.
No, they would not. No. No. Stop trying. Okay. Well, we will be seeing a full
I'll stop
five v
trying. You
five.
go. I'll sit here. You take the floor, Boxy. Let's see.
Okay, we'll be seeing the full 5v5 again up on Coastline, but it's not going to be the full GCCC starting five because, well, Daru has dropped out. They cannot play it. It's going to be a sub coming in, and the sub is a huge wild card. Daru, they were very, very aggressive and not always successfully on Oregon, but they really shined on Clubhouse. They had rounds where they were super aggressive, they had rounds when they were much more passive, and they were really putting in a lot of work. So the sub, again, they could be a great player, but they could just make I don't know. I feel like Daru just really set the bar, excuse me, very high, right? So it's all up to whoever's subbing in to determine who's going to win this game, as well as both teams and how their mental is going into round three. We've already been playing this live for 2 hours and 30 minutes. So, it definitely takes its toll as well.
Yeah, it's really mentally draining. Just imagine. Well, I am right now. Imagine looking at a screen for more than 3 hours and staring really, 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 really closely at it, and not breaking eye contact with that same screen for a long time. It can be really, really draining.
Really, really, really draining.
Really, really, really draining.
Oh,
So
thanks for
I'm
letting me
gonna
know.
reiterate that as you go here to Coastline, I nearly tipped over my water bottle. That would have been really bad.
I mean, Do you remember me doing that? And like, I think it was the first time we casted together. I just got COVID. I didn't know it was
He's
COVID at the time. I was feeling so bad, and so I had like a huge bottle of tea and a huge bottle of water on my table, and we just got on cams for interviews, and I knocked my water bottle over my keyboard, over my mouse, over my lap, and now I'm just in distress trying to wipe it all up while not showing it on camera. And I'm really glad you're enjoying this because I sure wasn't.
Oh, I was. If you look, as soon as I figured out, knew what was going on, I saw it in chat. I saw it on his camera, just having to play it cool. You just saw that my smile was like this for the interview. It just went,
Yes, I let you take it all away. But you know, it happens when you just gotta play it off. It's gotta improvise. So it is what it is. But I was like trying to move my arms under the camera so that they wouldn't show while I was moving all the wet stuff out of the way and just wiping it up. So well, I hope the same doesn't happen to you because it's not fun, trust me. But this is the 76th rehost today. So there is that. Um are
well,
we
I'm running out of questions to ask you. We have all
okay?
the players in lobby, which means that we should be in here in just a brief moment. I really wish that both these teams could just really have this full advance, a full opportunity to play at this map, which is luckily what they will have. They're going to be able to really push and have that aggressive stance. So we're just confirming that their subs are on the roster. And once that confirmation is good, then we are getting the A-OK. So we'll see, and we'll just check the roster, make sure they're on it, and then we are going to be in the game in Coastline. I've been dying to see Coastline, so I'm just really happy we are getting to cast it for one last nostalgic time.
Well, I mean, there still are NJCAA playoffs coming up, so potentially we
Really?
could see Coastline there as well if we get to work on any of those. I definitely hope we do. Um, but what are your first of all, what are your predictions for the game? Actually, let's do operator bands first. What do you think? Real fast, just 4 operators. Go 1, 2, 3, 4.
Twitch.
Twitch,
I want to see a Hibana.
Habana.
I want to see a ah
Okay.
Thunderbird.
You got the first one right. So you said Habana Thunderbird.
And finally Valkyrie.
Okay, I don't know about the Habana one. I think that's a wild card there. But there we
Oh,
go.
so close on the hard breach. Oh man.
So close yet so far away.
So
Well,
close.
you get no cake. But yeah, Valkyrie being one makes a lot of sense. Second one being either Mira or Thunderbird. You know, definitely see it on the table. And well, it's gonna be Mira instead. So I guess we
Darn
probably
it.
got one right.
Oh man, I was so close.
Where you started off with a Twitch ban so well. I know Twitch has been dominant, especially
We
with
already
one of
said no.
Noah's.
We already saw the Twitch ban. That was kind of rigged on my part.
I mean, yeah, but we've also seen a no ban, and you don't see that happening now. So we could have just redone them fully. Regardless, though, Thunderbird will be the last one removed. So you guessed that quite nicely. But that means Valkyrie is in play, and that. Well, that could be a problem because on Coastline she is extremely strong. So, well, there is that. First one up, it's going to be Hookah and Billiards Room with Noah defending, Garden City attacking, and Not Buddy is the person subbing in, or rather coming in to play for, or instead of Dare You. And we've seen Not Body play in the past. They've had their off games, they've had their good games. I do want to see which Not Body's pulling up today because, again, the win or loss for Garden City hinges on how Not Buddy plays.
It does, and it could be either really, really good
Attackers
for
need to
Gun City,
locate and
or
defuse
we
as
could
many
see the
bombs as they can.
contrary, where the entire momentum, the entire attitude of Garden City just is the complete opposite. So Toxic already possibly getting ready for a spawn peak. That's a really early window break, and for most drones that are in the building, that's going to be really audible. They're saving drones too, which is something that I want to highlight on the side of Garden City, where we see
Bomb
that
located
all
by
5 of their
attackers.
players. I don't know if that's just a visual glitch in the top left. I'm normally
10
used to it
seconds
still showing
remaining.
us the total number of drones, but they found almost everything.
5 seconds left.
They have the operator selection available, but they're all
Huh?
going to stick to what they've gone for.
Attackers are heading out to defuse the
Wait,
bomb.
can we show the bomb and top down? Did they place the ADS on the right side of the bomb? That doesn't make a lot of sense. Yes, yes, it's there. It's literally there for the attackers to
Why?
shoot as they pull up. That's not the start you want coming out from the defenders. I expected better from Wild Panther. And unless I'm missing something huge here, this is literally free for the attackers to shoot. So unless you're using the ADS as an audio cue of when you're being pushed around, which you absolutely 100% never should do, well, then you've done something wrong.
So a minor inconvenience. Wild Panther has done such a good job with previous gadget placements, so there could be a hidden meaning that we are just unaware of. That guy gonna sprint to get into a safe position, but they have not turned on their Inox scanner. Perhaps they have, but are not looking up. They're looking down. They're not even gonna care that there is still a player situated inside a sunrise. It looks like they will be eliminated by Shorty Got a Gun. They'll find their second. That's 2 kills, a refrag, and then some. Really good opening picks from Garden City. Shorty Got a Gun lit up all the way down to a sliver of HP remaining. But that is the man advantage for Garden City, and that Buck down below with the ability to go for some crazy shots. I don't know what they were down from.
Well, Shorty got a gun, but Shorty also got 2 kills, so their job here is done. Yes, they got down now,
What's a
probably
camera?
just by some yeah, it's Wild Wallbangs coming out, and Moondoggy, they're there to capitalize on that. They're not looking in the right direction just yet. There we go, finally Shorty falls, so it is a 3v3, still 75 seconds left on the clock, so plenty of time to work with for the attackers. Defenders, though, they're still roaming around. They haven't really been cleared. The fact that Chronic is so passive on that angle on the window is it's a little worrying for me because we have seen Garden City be extremely slow on their attacks, and I don't want them falling into the same vicious cycle they were in last time they were in attack. So hopefully they can pick up the pace, but it's not going to work out all that well because Sledge, he repels in, loses so much of his HP, but the plant is going to be stuck. So I guess at least there's that. They also now know someone is phased, the plant is stuck. Defenders need to push in. Why?
Why jump out? Why jump into the window? There's no reason you can
Defenders have
hold from
located the diffuser.
outside. Regardless, Buddy playing a really passive angle. They'll be able to find
no.
2 to their name. Talk about making a really good first impression. You got me one over, and Momo to find the final kill. And that's going to be Garden City taking this first round here on Coastline.
Well, I mean, things are looking up for Garden City. They're playing with us up, but it's working out. So let's see if they can keep this one out. Also, again, apologies for, well, you guys having no sound. Neither do we. But at this point, another rehost would just be torturous. So we gotta make what we have.
Yeah, we'll try our best to create sound effects for you if need be, if that's what
Yeah,
you really want. I'll leave that up to Boxy before he passes off those responsibilities to me. But
no. I think I was just gonna say I think you need to make like gun noises
Attackers
every
need to
time someone
locate
shoots.
and
You just need to be.
defuse
oh, that's not an explosion. Oh no. You see, I tried. That's why I'm not gonna do any more sound effects. I mean, I could probably try like
We need to pick up a voice actor for next season with how frequent these sound bugs are. Just have someone dedicated
just
to
on
doing
standby.
gun VFX. Yeah, that'd be amazing.
So I
Tyler,
can't
can
remember the
we?
sound of any sort of wall
10 seconds remaining.
reinforcement. But
Yeah, can we find some room in the budget for
5 seconds to
voice
insertion.
actors?
maybe
Attackers must locate and defuse the
Okay,
bomb.
there we go. I don't know if you guys heard that, but Kyler's all over it. He said we aren't paying anyone, and he's just gonna do pew 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 by himself. So
okay, you know what? That works. He just as qualified. Just as
true.
qualified. Do you know who else is qualified? Each and every single one of these players. They're qualified to absolutely eliminate their opponents. So with 2 minutes and 40 seconds to go, a sledge is going to be a great counter to this Amazi, and I'm not really sure what the point of it was. Oh, that is quite smart, except for the fact that you've now given your opponents a lot more freedom to really only concern themselves with one angle. So it's a double-edged sword. But Panther has the information to play with, and it looks as if that this entire hookah setup revolves around giving the attackers more coverage behind hookah bench.
Attackers have dropped the bomb diffuser.
I don't know.
A
We'll
bomb has
end
been
up
located.
seeing that guy ends up falling first. Momo follows suit thereafter, but can still be picked up. Shuri also lost most of their HP, or at least half of it, and it's quite concerning given the fact that we've just passed the 1 minute mark. And up until this second that I've said it, everyone on Noah was at 100 HP. Wild Panther extremely quiet ever since Oregon will fall first for his side on pole. So it is a 4v4 technically, but Toxic makes sure that isn't the case for long. As Chronix, also the top performer for Garden City, taken off very early on. Also, look at those reinforcements. What is that?
I don't know. I don't know. I don't
So
know.
many questions, so little
So many
answers.
questions, only a minute 20 to hopefully find some answers. Momo was revived. They have to deal with this really
Attackers
crazy
recovered the
Amazi
diffuser.
setup. And although we have the perspective to see, oh, this can really favor them if they can get behind the hookah bench, they have no way of knowing that unless they went for a crazy drone. Now, this other denial gadget being placed right on the doorway, that just eliminates a lot of time. They have to go melee that out. They have to re-drone to make sure that there hasn't been any obscure rotations by the defender. So with 50 seconds, H to find that kill down below onto Shorty. That's their second on the round. That is an absolutely huge kill.
Momo and Body now left alone, and they have their work cut out for them. We have seen a clutch similar to this twice earlier on Clubhouse coming out from GCCC, but can they do it again? I honestly doubt it, especially with how low Momo is, but they still have 3 breaching charges, and more importantly, 3 flashbangs in their pockets between them. So at least there's
Attackers
that.
bomb
Momo
diffuser
finds the
has been
first one,
dropped.
gets shut down though before he can take him out.
15
And
seconds
now
to go.
John, while
Bomb
low on
located
HP,
by
can just
attackers.
play this passively. Nobody fails to become
10
the
seconds
diffuser while
left.
pushing in, searching for kills, which is a mistake. Finds the head of the first one.
5 seconds
That's
left.
probably all he gets on the round, as there's only 3 seconds left. Looks the wrong way. John, patient behind the bar. Kill.
Could not have said it better. A really slow round from Garden City, not what we saw in the first one. And Nova will be able to keep things evened out, as it seems quite even, especially with the way these 2 rounds have gone so far.
Yep. No, I thought we were gonna hit something else, but no, I guess that's it.
Well, that
Round
is
3.
it.
Well, we're entering on an equal footing. The one thing that I want to talk about is Goyo being played, which I'm not sure if he's still banned. He got reworked recently, and I know in the first week after the new patch dropped, he was
Well, if
banned. We should probably
both
look into that.
Amazi and Goyo are good to be in.
I get it. Okay, a
Attackers need
zombie,
to
by the way.
locate and defuse bombs.
Oh, what did I say? Amazi?
A Mozzie, and you just called her Mozzie before. Yeah.
Attackers
Azami,
have
thank you
located a
very
bomb.
much.
Yeah, the more interesting pick though is the Frost. Again, it's one of those niche picks that they can just deal so much damage to unsuspecting attackers because they don't expect it. You know, Capcom's Frost, they used to be reserved for bronze, silver players, golds even sometimes that just don't know what they're doing. And that's where you really had to be careful about those traps, but they were so predictable, no one really brought them out
10
in
seconds
competitive
remaining.
play. But recently, people have become complacent regarding
5
those
seconds
traps,
to go.
and so they've just been jumping into them left, right, and center. So bringing in Frost every now
Attackers'
and then to
objective
throw
is
off
to
your
defuse a
opponents,
bomb.
I like that a lot.
And especially if you place them in locations where they're either going to be looking elsewhere or don't entirely have the ability to look down. I'm a huge fan of that Goyo shield. Haha, Goyo canister.
Haha,
Ha ha ha, loss and pain.
pain.
I really like that. I think that might have been some friendly fire damage onto that guy, but I am not too positive. Regardless, I digress on that point. That Goyo canister, both of them that we actually see are placed in positions where the attackers are not hopefully able to destroy them. I don't know what the perspective is like on the other side of that shield, but if they are able to detonate those as soon as they push in, that is a lot of area denial for a long amount of time. We talked about how Goyo and Tachanka normally play that role, but it's really forced Goyo into that position of, hey, if we know where they're going to be coming, let's try to set something up that we can shoot, destroy, and have just linger there for more than enough time.
Well, I mean, you're right, and well, at least we're seeing drones coming out from Garden City once again. A surprise, sure, but a welcome one. Jackal hasn't been played much today, and the one time that I remember seeing Jackal on Oregon, while they were trying to sniff out some feet, they got taken off instantly. Chronic's playing the vertical, trying to chip in a little bit of damage, and Nades will be coming
Oh
out, but he
no!
gets down, holding it, and actually takes himself out. Momo finds one, but VG Moondoggy onto Momo. They actually trade headshots there. So it is still looking up for Nova at the moment. They have the man advantage. They have the time working for them as well. But the attackers, they still have some element of surprise. They can still go for whatever push they want to, whatever direction they want to. Verticals are established, and now they can push servers, they can push main, they can push from Sunrise side, but everyone needs to stay alive for that to work, and that's not going to happen. Toxic Lima being would one make that two as the buck was down on the bedroom. All up to that guy who's been insanely quiet today. Now on Jackal, crouching around. Too late to actually capitalize on the Goyo pick, but I'm not sure if they know Goyo's behind the bed. They're
They
looking
have
for
the
lock
Inox
protection.
scanner, so they should be able to
Oh
see him. You made
no!
intimate eye contact! Oh my goodness, but Toxic will win it out after just staring down their opponent. How do you
That
let that
guy was just
happen?
standing there, and they weren't even standing there menacingly. They were standing there scared. They were whimpering with their tail between their legs, and it showed.
Oh my goodness, that was not the greatest show of force for Garden City, but they're still trying to find their footing, as Penthouse and Theater will be the tertiary bomb site here for Nova. Within the operator selection, IQ, very effective, can go down below, shoot up at both the Cade Claws and Jaeger ADSs, not to mention the fact that Buck has the capability to use that skeleton key to spray up, create huge
Attackers
line of
need to
sight, and
locate and
really
defuse as
displace
many
every
bombs as
single
they
one of
can.
those defenders.
Definitely want to see what ends up happening this round. I'm not the hugest fan of playing Penthouse or watching it, casting it, but it can be a pretty strong bump side, especially in recent meta. Though Mira goes a long way on Penthouse, and well, she's not in play for this game because she's been banned. So I do want to see how Nova decide to hold this. I'm not a fan of the fact that we aren't seeing, say, a Sunrise instead, but
10
well,
seconds
what do I
remaining.
know? Maybe they end up surprising us.
Maybe they do surprise
5
us.
seconds
I
to
do
insertion.
remember Sunrise and Bar being commonly the normally.
Attackers must
This is on
locate
the
and
maps where
defuse
there's
the
not
bomb.
really a quaternary site, where bedroom can be argued that it's the quaternary, but each team has their own preferences with how they play, making it their own tertiary or their own primary, own secondary. So I'm really interested to see if we see that Nova actually goes to both sites or they are really comfortable in bedroom, and it will all come down to how sufficient their defense is right here.
Into the round, and defenders are playing passively. I like that. We've seen way too much aggression come out from defenders throughout the series today, and that goes for both
A
Garden
bomb has been
City
located.
and Nova. So the fact that both teams are slowing it down a little bit and thinking about their pushes and their holds as they're happening, I like that a lot. We've seen some semblance of adaptability throughout the match, and I really hope these teams keep doing that, I guess, you know, past today's match, but I guess only time will tell. Nice shot from Toxic Lima Bean. They could potentially go for a second one, but instead they decide to live to fight another day. They just fall back into Aqua. Probably the wiser play there, as now the attackers have to either watch their flanks, which is something that we've all sucked at today, or they got to hunt down the Goyo Buck. Not sure on what's vertical and whatnot, but they finally find someone to even deal a little bit of damage through the floor, but it'll stay at that. 45 with 90 seconds left.
They've done a phenomenal job so far within the round, and these peaks, they're waiting patiently on top of roof. So Garden City is not in the worst position. They have some pressure inside, but the problem with Master Bedroom is that unless you have that direct pressure, you're still gonna be stuck clearing. And until you have that clear and make sure that no one else is dropping, because there's still two players off a site, they're waiting inside of Aquarium or Aqua and Billers respectively. So if these players play in unison, are able to establish a cross peak or even a refrag if one of them does fall, that could be absolutely devastating. But a minute to go, and you still have a player waiting all the way outside inside of ruins.
All the Aqua players finally shut down, but it took so long and so many resources coming out from Garden City that it was definitely worth it. Great round by Toxic Lima Bean. The men count, though, currently 4v4. Plenty of utility still on both sides.
The
VG
attacker's
tries
bomb
finding a few
diffuser has
people,
been
but
dropped.
doesn't find any. There we go. Turns around. Momo falls. That's the diffuser being held as well. Just 30 seconds left in the attack. They're scattered way throughout the map. Shorty equalizes it once again.
Attackers recovered
Chronix
the
just
bomb
sprints
diffuser.
into side, through a little renegade, through a smoke grenade just to be shut down by John's 416 carabine weapon. Shorty Nabadi both in the 90 hallway now,
15 seconds
diffuser in
remaining.
their pocket, but they need to start pushing, and Nabadi decides to sprint
10
all the way
seconds
around to
remaining.
try and maybe take this bomb site, but they have no time to go. Canister spot
5
Nabadi
seconds
with the
remaining.
kill, but that's all that they can do. They push in, get
Wait,
him
what?
camped instead of starting to plant. One dies to the Goyo canister, one to the smoke, and it's another round for the defense. That's what happens when you misclick.
Oh,
And you go on cams instead of planting. And it's pain. It's very painful. I would
that
cry.
is really, really painful. Oh my goodness. I guess they were. I tried to come up with something creative. I can't come up with anything right now. That was just, nah, buddy.
Nah, buddy.
Nah, buddy.
Just a nah for me, buddy.
Yeah, just cue piano,
Attackers
man.
need to
At this
locate
point,
and
just cue
defuse
piano,
bomb.
man.
This is so sad. Alexa played Despacito too.
You scared me for a second. I have an Alexa in my room, and like anytime I'm muting it. Anytime there's an echo on the board, and I say echo, I've gotten some wild responses, and
Attackers
now
have
that's been
located
my
a bomb.
absolute fear. Anytime I see an echo on the board, I'm like, I'm shivering, like, and you'll hear like a big like shuffle around from my mic as I just go and I try to hit the silence button on my Alexa.
Of course, you're
10
scared of
seconds left
virtual
before
women.
insertion.
Am I not surprised?
5 seconds left before insertion.
Okay.
You can
Awkward.
I'm gonna give you awkward
Attacker's
silence
objective
after
is
that
to
one. You
defuse
can
the
pick that
bomb.
one up, Boxy.
I didn't expect it to be so quiet. Now I feel mean. Okay, but we're on Hoka, and I'll know what they've been doing great on their defenses. I do want to see once the sides are reversed in their attack and if they can keep their momentum up. But so far, it seems like we've gotten the back in form Nova that we have seen on Oregon because they were very clearly absent on Clubhouse, and the fact that they're bringing it back, well, I'm happy for them.
They'll kick things off with an opening kill onto Shorty Got a Gun, someone who's notoriously done a phenomenal job of getting those refrags. Meanwhile, it seems like they've, on the side of Garden City, they just can't find their grip. Meanwhile, Nova has had a really, really big grasp of how they want to play this map. They complete the perfect cycle. The only round that they lost was that first initial one to Garden City, and it seems like each flaw that has been made, they correct accordingly. Toxic, situated inside of luggage. We'll be able to find one peering out from the luggage window onto Aqua Balk. Don't worry though, Momo's there for the refrag. They'll find H, and with that, rotate all the way back out towards Hookah. I'm pretty sure that they've done their job and opened up every single, or the line of sight that we've seen nah buddy hold on top of the roof. So the positions are there for on the side of Garden City. It's just a matter of making it into sight and using those positions more effectively.
I don't know what it is with Garden City, but man, do they love repelling on windows and wasting at least half the round on there. We've seen that on Oregon, we've seen it a little bit less on Clubhouse, and now it's a prevalent thing again on Clubhouse. So, or the coastline. I'm so sorry. It is. My excuse is that it's 4:04 a.m. So brain not bound, but. Oh, we'll see what ends up happening. Chronix just crouches through VIP.
No, don't do it
finds
to him.
one.
Don't do it
Yes,
to him.
do it
Oh
to him
no!
again. That's the second one today.
Chronic!
Oh my god, that's the Rat King right there, just crouching through, mailing unsuspecting people in the back. 3v3 as the plant starts being stuck. 40 seconds left in the
Attackers are
defenders. They will have to
activating diffusers.
attack and retake the bomb site now. Chronic just needs to deny the time, but they're getting aggressive with those pre-fires. Also not sure whether to check 90 or not. At least two defenders are in billiards, though. Not sure where the third one is, but I guess we'll end up seeing short. 25 seconds left.
Yeah, defuse. You also have to factor in that there's 7 seconds that are needed from the defenders. Swinging out, it's going to be a double kill for Toxic. Looking, they weren't aware of the cross angle that was set up by Not Buddy as well as Momo. Toxic with It's John trying to set a cross angle up of their own, but Not Buddy does not misclick this round. They are on the trigger, spraying, but they're going to have to find one more. But with 5 seconds, there is no hope. Not Buddy collects onto a second kill within that post-defuse process. Well done by Garden City, and they've given themselves a lot of life going into round 6.
Well, finally, a round for Garden City. We haven't seen that since round 1, I want to say. I think it was 3 in a row for Nova before that, right?
I think you're, 3 in a row for Nova. 1-3-1 now.
Well, Garden City, they're showing some resilience again. And I'm not going to lie to you, my worst fear is going to overtime because it's getting late. We've been live with this for 3 hours and we're not even at the midway
Attackers need to
point
locate and defuse
of
bombs.
game 2. Or game 3, rather.
Not to mention the fact that we are hopefully jumping into a second match after this one.
True,
Attackers
that's
have
new.
located
Usually we
days.
hand it off. We hand it off to our Valorant friends, but today you're stuck with us. So
Yeah, you poor. No, you're not poor. You guys get to have a splendid time with Binks and Boxy, B squared.
you get to listen to Boxy Bully Bings. That's 3 Bs.
Boxy Bully
10
Binks.
seconds remaining.
You can turn that into a full-on TV ad. Tune in Tuesday nights
5
at
seconds to
7
go.
o'clock Eastern to watch Boxy Bully Binks. Only
Well,
on NJCAAE
objective is to
powered by
defuse the
Esports
bomb.
U.
I think we should make that an ad. I don't know. We should pitch that to the marketing department. But
Subscriber only chat not included. For a fun time, make sure to turn volume all the way up to the top setting. Internet
Okay.
connection required.
is it really internet required?
No way.
No way. Speaking of
Yeah,
no
who would've
way.
thought? Twitch? Regardless,
Yeah.
Twitch banned out. 2 minutes, 30 seconds. Let's refocus on this map. First, Finka Boost will be deployed by Shorty Got a Gun. They're also looking to jump down towards luggage. This is really aggressive, but it is a lot more justified because it's kitchen. But you have to be worried because there could be a lurking
attacker's
defender
bomb
from
diffuser
Nova
has been
that could
dropped.
catch you off guard. That could be exactly what happened to Momo. But Toxic, it seems like they're on the Goyo. They're playing inside a lobby. So that first kill was really justified. And they've been able to rotate accordingly to hold off this diffuser. So even if every single player on the side of Garden City takes control of site, defuse is still down inside security, and that creates a really daunting task for Not Buddy.
Toxic has really been having the game of his life here on Clubhouse. Why do I keep saying Clubhouse? Oh my god, on Coastline. They've been winning every gunfight there was to win. They've just been strong with those openers, and it's been impactful kills as well. Not only did they have the diffuser, but the breach, the hard breach for the attackers has been shut down. Nobody with 2 there, though, comes absolutely
Attackers
massive
recovered
as
the
we
bomb
somehow
diffuser.
end up in a 4v2 situation. Make that a 4v1 as Shorty finds one of their own, and this is shaping up to be a 3-3 split.
Who would have guessed it? 2 teams that have been so very close. Meanwhile, H has a chance if they get this opening pick. They're going to throw the impact.
Attackers
Not able to
dropped the
find it.
bomb
Detonating the
diffuser.
Goyo, though. They only have to worry about one angle. 15 seconds on triple kill for H. He's brought so much life into this round. Taking hits from the fire. Chronic will push right on in. If there's anything that's going to stop Chronic, it's not going to be the fire. They find the pick and guarantee that 3-3 split. What an absolute round from Golden City and a really highlight play from H.
I'm not crying. Something just fell in my ear. And it has nothing to do with the fact that we're possibly going to overtime if we keep it up. I'm not crying. I swear.
No, you're not.
I'm not.
And
You're
do you know
crying.
who else is not crying? Garden City. If you look at their, sorry, not Garden City. Yes, Garden City. Not Buddy. Taking the exact role that we saw carried out by Dare You.
Yeah,
And
that's
they've done a
true.
really good job. Can we
Defenders,
I'm a
just
Nut
take
Body
a-
fan.
being defused by
8 and
attackers.
4. That's a 2.0 KD, ladies and gentlemen. They're picking up the slack where their comrades are having a little bit of trouble.
Attackers have
In
Oh,
every
located a
single
bomb.
scenario, we've seen nobody have a really good aspect and good perspective on the round. And I have to highlight that they are a substitute on the roster of Garden City. So,
speak.
regardless, you have to give credit where credit is due. In Garden City, giving nobody this chance to really shine within this final game of the season. They're coming up strong and showing, hey, maybe you
10
should look out
seconds
for them
to
next
insertion.
season.
Speaking of highlighting things, though, look at those
5
attacker
seconds to go.
repicks. You have Buck to Sledge, Thermite to Capital, which is already spicy,
Attackers
but
are
most
heading out to defuse
importantly,
a
we
bomb.
have Nomad to Glass of all operators.
What?
And we've seen some weird operators for us today, namely Blackbeard and then a later point Rook as well. The fact that we're seeing a Glass now is just, it's it's making me cry. And yes, I know Glass can be viable on Coastline, but are we in year 3 or something? I don't know.
Man, how the time flies. You can think about 3 years ago. You can think about Glass 3 years ago. He had his thermal scope. He
He still
was
does.
causing so many problems, but he just sprinted. And this thermoscope could prove to be really, really powerful.
Oh,
They had
oh
no clue. They
no!
see the foot, they'll get the down.
Oh
We
my
questioned it,
god.
but it is working absolute wonders here on service. It's going to force players to now rotate back. They're cautious of the glass, but they don't know when they were completely compromised. They'll rotate, change what angle they are going to be attacking and choosing their aggression from. Not the smartest smoke as they spray out, trying to hope that there's someone that peaks, but you're in a pre-fire angle. Default is still up. Hopefully they have dispatched of that, but with no game audio, we have very little ways to know.
Well, I guess we'll just have to wait and see. We're approaching the midway mark of the round very steadily, and it is a 5v3. The fact that Glass got the entry double is very unsettling to me because that just means, in my mind, the Glass will be like, oh, yep, Glass worked. We got to bring him more often. And that's not the thing. No, don't do that. But Momo, he's going to start putting in some work. He is going to take out Wild Panther, who, again, just hasn't been having a
Pause.
game. And it's wild saying that. Because
Panther,
honestly, pause.
stop spectating. Get on the drones.
No, spectate. Spectate. Do it.
There's
Do it.
6 drones in play.
No, spectate.
They
Do
can
it.
provide at least a little bit of information.
Nope, he's
Get
gonna spectate.
on the drones. Please, please, please.
Nope, spectate. You see how he's listening to me and not to you? Yeah. That's because he loves me more. But 45 seconds left. The plant is coming down. Capital with the fire bolts, but the Aruni, she's going to push through. She's going to get one. Will not check the corner. Not only does the plant get stuck, but Moon also finds them. John with a triple on the round on the glass. Toxic playing above to support on vertical. Spots the leg, finishes Momo out, and that's another round for the attack.
Yeah, a good opening round from Nova, largely off the back of the Glaz play, and I think it was. I don't want to mix this up. Was it? No, it was not. Who was it on the Glaz? It was it H?
John.
John, thank you. I can't believe I completely missed who that was. But John, you did a
And
phenomenal job of the glass, and I'm glad that they're not going and sticking that because it was a really situational pick. Where that's one of the greatest things about this operator repick on attack.
Attackers
Where
need to
once they
locate
go and
and
they
defuse
spot
as
out a
many
site,
bombs as they
these
can.
operators who are generally not as viable, like Glaz, becomes a really key pick to surprise your opponents and work with. It allows you to
Bomb
look at a
located
site
by
and say,
attackers.
well, if they were on this site, I would not take it. So their ability to drone in, because they had no way of knowing where Garden City was going to defend
Attackers have
first.
located a bomb.
So they droned in, got the information, and switched. And clearly, I have no validity in what I'm saying right now, but it's John is clearly looking at this site and saying, hey, I guess the glass could work again.
10 seconds
well,
to go.
that's exactly what I was afraid of, but I guess we can't really fault him
5
after
seconds
getting a
left before
triple.
insertion.
So, well, there's that. I do want to see for how long the glass
Attackers
works
are
though before it
moving to
becomes a
defuse the
niche
bomb.
peak. The deep defenders see through Nova with the advantage once again, at least the round department, they are a round up. But we've seen that excuse me, means very little today. We've seen one team take the lead and then the other equalize and take the lead for themselves right after. So it's been a back and forth, and I honestly don't dare predicting who's going to win this one.
Shorty got a gun here on the roam. He's assisted by Chronic, but they're on different positions of the map. We see one down below as well as one holding off the bedroom side. If need be, they have the impacts in their pockets. Shorty does not. They've opted to take the bulletproof cam, but Chronix has the ability to rotate around the map quite efficiently, I might add. They're playing that Vigil. So if you thought they were able to find the holes before getting two nice, one with Jaeger, one with Ash, then
The
you should
attacker's
be
bomb
very
diffuser has
scared
been
of the
dropped.
abilities that they have with that K1A in hand, as well as that scanner that they can completely disable any drones from seeing where they are.
Entry goes to Nobody, though. Toxic Lima will fall down, and Toxic has been the best fragger for their team next to H and John, who, well, they have the same amount of kills as Toxic, but honestly, that's so wild to think about. Game one, it was Wild Panther carrying super hard with Toxic Lima following suit. Both H and John, they were very far behind, and Moondoggy, I barely even remember mentioning. That's how absent they've been from the map, at least in those flashier moments. But now it's everyone but Panther really putting in work. So how to turn tables, I guess, is the only thing that I can say. Smoke canister is deployed there so the glass can swing through. Chronic and Not Body lose most of their HP. But for the time being, Garden City, they still have the upper hand. Not for long, though, as John finishes off
Attackers
Momo, and that's
recover the
no more
diffuser.
Gumine is on the round for the defenders as they try and hold their own for 50 more seconds.
Oh, this is interesting. John gonna get caught with that goo mine as soon as the
Attackers
nobody
dropped the
sees out. They'll
diffuser.
be able to find that kill that brings up to 10 and 5. Continuing with their 2.0 KD, they'll try to add another one onto it. They won't be able to find their kill as they've been assisted by all 4 of their remaining companions who are up and about. He'll be downed. Rook Armor 2 be able to save him and keep him alive in these dying seconds, or almost dying seconds, as 30 seconds is a lot to work with, especially for this lonesome Ying of Moon. They have 4 kills. They can make an impact on the round, but they are just spraying, and I think that's a key thing here. They'll find one. Now, Buddy was revived recently.
15
So the
seconds to
reload,
go.
17 bullets won't be enough. They'll go down to their final 67 bullets to the chamber.
10
No more
seconds to
reloads
go.
are going to be a possibility. But running right on in, Shorty Got a Gun was hiding, making sure that they weren't getting flashed out. In the moment that they got the eye on the Tiger or the Ying, they took them out, and here we are. Tied once again, 4-4. Boxy, will there ever be an end?
Well, I mean, we gotta end at some point, right? It's max 15 rounds, but those 15 rounds are looking like a real possibility. More and more. Whenever someone gets the advantage, the other equalizes it out just moments later. And again, it's been this back and forth literally all night long with help, excuse me, Clubhouse being the least decisive one,
Defenders, protect your bombs
or
from
the
being
most
defused
decisive
by
one, rather.
attackers.
With this prep phase here on
Attackers have
Kitchen, last
located a
time we
bomb.
saw Nova use great advantage of the glass. Last round, it did not work nearly as well. They still got their 1 frag, so they won their 1. But at what point could you have contributed elsewhere? You could have Finka boosted up your team. But it's also a matter of looking and really thinking, hey, what's the plan? How can I assist my team more and more? Is the smokes really the way I need to go? And of course,
10
H
seconds
is
left before
assisting the
insertion.
Glaz because they are able to shoot their Capitao smoke bolts, and there's
5
no
seconds to go.
projectile catching on the side of Garden City. I think that's something that I've forgotten to
Attackers
mention.
are
With
heading out
Chronic
to
using
defuse
this
a bomb.
Vigil and nobody being on that Rook, they could have easily swapped either 2 of those operators, or Malusi or Legion, as they're both trap operators. There's so many rooms to just count, or so many operators just to switch out for that Jaeger, for that Wamai, because you need it in this
A
scenario.
bomb
There's
has
there's
been
no
located.
opportunity where projectile catching is not going to be good. 2 smokes, 4 smokes, 6 smokes, with all both Capitao, Ying, and Glass combined, not to mention 3 flashes and 2 nades. Oh, did I forget to mention 3 Candelas, 2 air jabs, and 2 fire bolts from Capitao? Is that enough? I think that's more than enough projectiles.
Nah, that's good and all. That's great and all. But the fact that we only have 1 set of nades in this current meta is not something that I love seeing. On the flip side, though, there's 6 grenades or 6 impact grenades coming out from defense. Only one of which has been used so far, meaning that we could see impact grenade galore should it come to it. Just a minute left, or the minute into the round, and Again, we see some control of service being established already. Glass just swinging it like there's no tomorrow. But I think the defenders have finally learned their lesson because they're not swinging one by one for once. And, well, if that isn't character growth, then I don't know what it is.
Now, buddy, to find a beautiful headshot with that sliver, not even a sliver, that is a, oh, I don't even know what to call that. That is a little toothpick of HP remaining. And Panther to get over aggressive in that case. I can't believe I'm saying this, was over aggressive while peeking outside, and that will cause them to have to rotate right on down. And why'd they jump in the box? That's what I'm trying to figure out. John swinging out from the door, but Garden City knows not to peek out. And it looks like a clear learning opportunity from Garden City. They've corrected upon their mistakes, and they've completely understood that there's relatively little that they can do, and there's no need for them to be peeking these angles, especially against the glass.
I've been saying this about the glass since the round one where it was brought. It's the fact that yes, it's a niche pick and it's gonna work once or twice, but sooner or later, rather than later, your opponents will get used to what you're doing and they will just not swing you. But they could pull chronic. They could just be looking the wrong way while crossing, not knowing that there's a hole open onto you and lose their life that way. Still a 4v3 though, and so much time has been wasted. 15 seconds left, so it's gonna come down to a last second collapse coming out from the attackers. Glass will be the first one to jump in the kitchen window. That guy will be there to try and contest. A nice shot from that body. Can he make it too? I'm not sure if he knows there's another one in there. Guan's coming in clutch. Momo and Shorty both find one. That's another round for Gardens City.
You tried so hard there. I'm
I
so
did.
sorry.
I
You
did.
can hear like the little coughs, like, and they'll.
I'm so sorry.
No, I respect the effort. I respect.
I
the
really-
effort.
I
And you
really
got
thought
your
I'd get
point
through it.
across. You did like you fought through it. You could hear your like every fiber of your body just like pushing that cough down. Like, no, that's a problem for another day. This is not our problem.
I was literally that guy from the meme that like needs to cough but doesn't.
Every single vein on Boxy's head was just exploding.
That's true. Be glad you don't see my face cam right now.
Uh-oh. I don't like anytime anyone says, "I'll be happy you don't see my face cam," I'm always really worried that's what we're gonna see. But luckily, our good friend K-Tad is saving us that worry.
Attackers need to locate and defuse
Man, you gotta warn me about that. What if I was picking my nose right now? I know.
Well,
like,
that's the
but
most scary thing. From us in our position, our cameras are on 24/7 while casting. Anything we do, any gesture we make towards our commentator, or not commentator, our producer, they can always see us, and it's really concerning. But regardless, focusing back on the
10 seconds
game,
remaining.
Momo, I actually want to give a quick little highlight. Their goo mines
5 seconds
within the
left.
sight of Kitchen, we're still catching all those players that Noah off guard.
Attackers
So
are
it
moving
did
to
work
defuse
out
a bomb.
quite well. Not to mention the fact that within this Kitchen, or not Kitchen, Blue Bar and Sunrise hold, Shorty got a gun, has switched over to the Wamai. Thank goodness.
so Shorty got a different gun? What you're saying?
Yeah, I guess that is what I'm saying, if you know what I'm saying.
Know what you're saying, and I know what you're saying. But back to round of 10, 30 seconds in. The attackers are very reluctant to even approach the building. They're very, very of spawn peaks, which I think is commendable. But you, even if you're being careful and watching out for spawn peaks, you can just stay in spawn. You have to start
No.
moving. Entry,
The
though.
Wamai.
Yep. Yep. Oh, Shorty got no
Bomb has
gun
been
now.
located.
Oh!
Shorty got a
Okay.
cam. Wild Panther. Are they using that? I think they're using that like it's a DMR, an assault rifle. I am a fan. I'm not going to say I'm not. And this is a really clear split push coming out from Nova. This is the tertiary bomb site. We cannot forget to make that point. Chronic also taking damage from who knows where. Going to get a quick little jump scare from that Iona Gemini replicator. That guy also getting lit up by John. And guess who it is? It's John E. But regardless, minute 35, and it's going to be on the cusp of a flawless round. It's going to come up to the sub of Nobody to have to deny it. They'll first deny the flawless round. Next up, the plant. But it does not look like that will
Attackers are
be a
activating the
possibility. They'll
diffuser.
have to play with the retake. Start the clock, 44 seconds, but it won't even get to 40 as the Maverick outside of Blue Bar window will swing in at the right time and just spray through that wall. Great use of information, and Nova really showing that they are not out of this game.
Overtime. I'll cry. Okay, but we're 99% sure we're seeing overtime now, unless something goes extremely wrong for either of the teams in the next 2 rounds. I think we're absolutely going to overtime, probably max overtime. Well, at that, not to be confused with Max D, our beautiful observer. But yeah, keep in mind this is the decider map, so whoever ends up winning this one, oh my god, I hate it here.
Hey.
I need new
Okay, I need a, that's in
coworkers.
response to a gift that Max D sent me, but
Yeah,
that's okay.
I
It is a
need.
party up in here. It's a party in the green room. Let's never forget that.
Yeah, and we are
Um,
still in the green room because we forgot to switch voices. So there's that. If someone's watching us in Discord, I think we're in a green room right now, even though we aren't. But yeah, keep in mind this
Attackers
is
have
the
located a
decider,
bomb.
meaning that whichever team loses, they lose the whole series, and we're edging overtime, like I said, which is worrying.
10
that
seconds
is
remaining.
quite worrying for both these teams. If you think that our mental's gone,
5 seconds to
you have
go.
to wonder what these other teams. Why are you switching a hard breach to
Attackers are
glass,
moving to
John?
defuse a bomb.
John. It's working, but just not working well enough that you can justify it. You could be assisting in other ways, and now the Blackbeard pick has also been coming out. They're netting you kills, but I'm sorry to be the one to break this to you. It's not from the operator that you're taking. It's from the way that you're playing. And that's probably a really big compliment that you don't need these operators to get these really, really cool kills. John, Panther, you guys are both phenomenal players. Use different operators, use their abilities as well, because I know that you guys can get a huge frag.
What a great pep talk. I need you on my team whenever I play comp and I do bad at it.
Oh, I just
Oh,
yell at you, Boxy.
okay, well, so this fellow, I guess. So, well, your budget fellow again. But Momo's gonna get the entry, and it's gonna be Blackbeard falling, Wild Panther 410 for not having their game at the moment. Momo going for a receiving, very ballsy, also leans the wrong way for just a second there. And well, would you look at that? Rook armor, and there's one single vest left in there.
Don't talk
Things.
about it. Don't talk about it. Hear no evil, see no evil. Flora's drone is that Rotero of Knievel. It will actually not be shot out. Not anything that the defenders can do once it's gone into its anchored state. Really interesting about that RCE Rotero drone. So nothing much for Garden City to do right now. They have to wait things out. That Rook Armor getting destroyed in the process. Let's weep a tear and pretend that it was empty, so it did not matter whatsoever. But in minute 20, Garden City holding strong on the site. Nova has not made too much impact. I'm not too sure what we've seen on the other side of the map, but it seems really, really slow. And here's the problem: if you're not able to get into site and
Attackers have
inflict
located
any
a bomb.
pressure, operators like Laz are not going to do anything, because if there's no one causing these players to move, why are they going to? There's no reason for them to do anything besides just sit in the same position. And they start getting shut out, which Toxic will prove to us time and time again. And John to find a
Attackers have
really
dropped the bomb
clear
diffuser.
cut headshot with Glass.
Keep in mind, whoever wins this round is going to be the first one to secure match point, or at least to get onto it. John and Toxic, they're left in a peculiar position. They're left against 3 defenders, 30 seconds left to work with, 2 grenades in the pocket of Finka, and 2 boosts in her gadget. That's all they have, though. That's all they have to work with, and there's so many angles to cover. Momo finds one that's triple him on the round. Can they make it for no?
Attackers will
Toxic
cover
finds
the
one of
bomb
his own.
diffuser.
Diffuser picked up
15
now.
seconds to
Just
go.
10 seconds left. He goes for the reload for some reason. I know there's
10
only
seconds
12 bullets,
remaining.
but you gotta go. The LMG's reload for so long. The
5
boost comes
seconds
out as well,
remaining.
but he leans the wrong way. He doesn't see Shorty behind the couches, and that's another round for GCCC.
I have a couple of requirements that need to be met in order for Garden City to win this match. One of them, and this is a little bit more far-fetched, is that I really, really, really need to see that guy gets a kill.
Well, it is what it is.
It is what it is, and that's the type of operator or person that I would be saying, all right, maybe they should be on Rook. Because then it gives them the ability. And of course, that guy could be playing those Meister cams, giving that information. That's something that I don't want to leave out of it. But when you were going, well, you know what? 0 and 9, and we didn't have a second rehost on this map, I
Attackers
don't
need to
think.
locate and defuse
We've
as
been
many
quite
bombs as they
consistent,
can.
luckily. So that means that, yep, 0 and 9, 9 rounds. There's been 11 played so far. This
Bomb
is the
located by
final round,
attackers.
which is 12. So 9 subtracted 3. Or sorry, 2. Oh my goodness. I talked about it too much in my head thinking about 12. But they
Attackers
have been able to stay
discovered the
alive for
location
2
of a bomb.
rounds. I don't know which rounds those were, but that means that they aren't dying. They're not running. They're not playing aggressive. They are playing a little bit more laid back. But last round, we saw that they were getting lit up so very slowly,
10
just not
seconds to
able to
insertion.
avoid the crossfire. So if they need to go hide in a really obscure
5
corner
seconds to
under
go.
a desk and just use those Maestro cams, that could be a way for them to make a good impact.
Attackers are
Say it in
moving
real
to defuse
quick
a bomb.
before we start this
Not a
round
math, not a
off.
math joke. Not a math joke.
No.
Yes, Boxy.
Who do you think wins this? Who do you think wins round 14? Are we going into overtime or is Garden City taking it out of?
Wait, whoa. Round 14. This is round 12.
Sorry, round 12. Yeah.
Math moment, chat. Clip it, please.
Yeah, well.
Please, we got boxing. Okay, there we go. We're evened out. You cannot talk about anything math related with
It's
me or make fun of me
4:30
for math.
a.m., okay? You want to discuss math at 4 a.m.? Be my guest.
Yes, let's try to discuss math. You know how time zones work? That's wonderful.
I'll call you in 6 hours.
Momo's going to be the first to fall. John
Attackers
making a
bomb
really
diffuser
big
has been
impact,
dropped.
but that's 2 huge kills. Now biting and Shorty to collect. That brings it down to a 4v3. Nova needs this round, but it's slipping out of their fingers. We might not even need to see that 14th round, Boxy.
Well,
meanwhile, 4 kills remaining on the side of Nova. They have to get every single one of them, but the Fuse is going to possibly assist that.
Well, Fuse can be a great operator if used correctly. Has seen a surge in their picks lately, mostly due to the fact that they A, got one more charge, B, got that slept on AK. Was slept on for a while, but once Face released, everyone started loving the gun. And most importantly, you can now use the Fuse cluster charges on hard walls, on reinforced walls. So, well, there is that. But like you said, it's all up to the Jackal and the Fuse. They need to push
Attackers
this one
recovered
up,
the diffuser.
which means they each need to get 2 kills, or, well, one of them needs to get all 4 of them, although that's very unlikely. Now, Body going to be the first point of contention, playing behind the bar over there in blue, and let's see if he can put in work. Yes, he can. There we go. H is down, and it's all up to Wild Panther to keep his team up in contention for this round. Now, Body, though, goes for the swing, goes behind the bar, is actually taken off by Wild Panther. Another defender is down there, so I'm not sure how long they can keep it up for.
They have a few options. They will be able to go for this revive, but 45 seconds. It is tick-tock. One Rook armor still on the ground. Garden City, you are playing with my heartstrings right now. But there's a double kill for Shorty got a gun, all left up to the Fuse of H. They have relatively little options. They have nowhere to turn. Garden City has it within their grasp. They can take this game. H to find one, but there's this Ray. That guy finds his kill. He's not going to end with a donut. And just like that, Garden City takes the game.
GG sub went crazy, I guess. That's well, that's very true. That's can't be disputed.
Wow.
Wow.
Overtime. Your wish came true, Boxy.
That's true. I had my fingers and my other fingers and both of my toes crossed. I was like, please no overtime. Please no overtime. And well, we got that. So great game, great showing by both teams. The fact that GCCC ended up winning, though, is surprising because we've established this. Nova, yes, they're qualified for playoffs, but they were playing for seeding today. GCCC, I checked during the game, and playoffs, even with this win today, are far out of their reach. So the fact that a non-qualified team and a team that's very low down on the leaderboard actually beat Nova today, very surprising.